peacefully grown up in this town and there haven't been any issues with them. Why do you want to risk breaking precedents? I don't understand that. You just open yourself up for another can of worms. Mixed use, there's no covenants for mixed use, but it's full of commercial. Why aren't there covenants in there? Commercial's commercial. I don't care what you know. I mean, there's different degrees of commercial, but that can be fixed with site plans. I think you're overcrowding your ordinances, and with that, I think interjects a level of chaos in there that you guys have to deal with. Keep it simple. It's worked for many years. If you don't want something, you vote no. It's very simple. I think you introduce ambiguity, and that just creates inflammatory citizens. And you guys will well know all the inflammation that's been going on lately with all these zoning things and stuff like that. And I would encourage you to vote against this ordinance. I think it creates another level of problems for everyone. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was the only sign up that we had for the CC ordinance. Would anyone else like to have this opportunity to speak on the CC Community Commercial District? All right, not seeing any hands. Go ahead. A little higher. There you go. Come on up.
Roxanne Hemphill, 605 Park Avenue. I'm speaking as the planning chairperson. Yes, our ordinances are getting very complicated. And it's getting to the point where it's very, very hard to maneuver through these ordinances and to try to keep everything straight. And every time we're doing something new, we're adding another ordinance. And it's getting very frustrating and very hard to deal with. That's all I wanted to say. You have to make your own decision. I know what my decision would be. I would keep it the way it is.
All right. Thank you, Roxanne. All right. I'll ask just one more time. Anyone else want to speak on the CC Community Commercial? Okay. It is 6:24, so I'll close this first public hearing, and we will pick up with the annexation resolution number 44, regular property, at 6:30. Thank you. For all of those in the room, you only have to sign in if you are willing, if you want to This public hearing is on the annex resolution number 44, regular property. I'm going to give everyone 2 minutes. Please be respectful of that time just so that we can make sure that everyone's voices are heard. I would like to try and get through everyone on the list if that's possible. First up is Michael O'Brien. Thank you, sir. Next up is Ken Palmer. Can you please just state your name and address, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ken Palmer, 308 Springgate Court, Mount Airy, 21771. Thank you for hearing us. I'll try not to make a point that I know others are going to make for time. I'm speaking against the annexation, either against it outright or delaying it at least till more studies can be done. I'm aware what the old master plan says and had the annexation in it with 24 houses. I know under the county it probably perks for 4 houses, maybe 5. And I know right now they want 33 up there. So all that I know, and I know what's in the master plan, but I also know what's in the action matrix. And just for this, I want to point out what's in that action matrix, a couple points. This is part of the plan, as you all know, I'm just saying for them. Encourage protection of farmland outside of the proposed town limits, acquire additional land on the border of town and establish green space, prioritize and concentrate near term, 8 to 10 years, on infill rather than annexation, emphasize more balance between commercial, industrial, and residential, and lastly, identify and designate priority transportation areas and look at ones with particular concern, of which that road Prospect is listed as one of those roads. So I'm bringing these points up because they kind of go against the plans of annexation and putting 33 houses up there. In fact, when you look at the action plan, we don't see anything that even supports it. So, and it's weird, it's dated 2023. I'm not sure why you got an action plan dated a year from now, but it must be because you're continuing it. So it appears to be our intent, the town's intent in that action plan, and that intent certainly doesn't support what's proposed for that land use. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Kelly Carr.
Thank you. Kelly Carr, 308 Springgate Court as well. I understand there's a strong desire by town council to have access to the Windy Ridge Park. And I think that's likely one of the primary reasons that it's still under consideration, given the fact that it's in such drastic contrast to the master plan. From what I understand, only 2 access options have been considered so far, one being Westridge connection through the Cindy Court, and the other one being a connection from Prospect through the regular property. I just find that a little hard to understand because the park property, the boundaries are so huge. I think it's disingenuous that the town has not taken time or money to invest in a survey to consider other options to access that property. Especially when you take a minute to consider the future plans. You know, what's the schedule of the development of the park? What's all included? The 2022 Frederick County Program Open Space Plan has $260,000 allocated from the funds to this project. It specifically references ballparks in the top section of the park. Just adding the traffic alone from 24 to 33 houses is going to be making that prospect dangerous, and it's irresponsible. If you also add in extensive traffic from daily practices, games, tournaments, it just adds on to that. So lastly, I'm just pleading for you guys to either delay the vote, take the time to conduct the evaluations of other access points, address the road safety concerns or Prospect, evaluate the impact on the residents of Westridge and Cindy Court's quality of life, and just how it directly conflicts in the plan, the master plan. So that Prospect area is so blind curves, blind hills, 25 mile an hour going out of town, but then it's immediately 35 miles an hour on those blind curves, and there's already a traffic issue. And there's a width issue. The turn into Westridge is already not wide enough to sustain the 2 open traffic lanes. So again, thank you, and please consider delaying or rejecting the annexation.
Thank you. Ellen Windmiller.
I'd like to just hold off until I hear some other speakers. Is that okay?
If time is allotted, but this would be your time. Okay, all right. Todd Rosenfeld? Sorry.
Todd Rosenfeld, 5561 Cindy Court. My question really is in terms of why would we vote for the annexation? You know, because it honestly seems as though that the liability increase is greater than the benefit to it. Figure additional draw on water, we're going to have additional runoff that, we're going to have more impermeable surfaces, light pollution, it's going to add additional burden on the schools. You know, if you look at the number of students in classrooms right now, the classes are kind of maxing out, then you're going to add additional burden actually to the schools. Plus, there's going to be so many additional costs to the town. And it just seems though the actual costs are going to exceed what they're actually going to get from it. And also by allowing the annexation, it seems as though that the town cares more for the potential residents rather than the actual existing residents. Now, in terms of additional costs, I mean, you know, just looking over the plans for this, 33 houses on a small parcel of land, okay? Road maintenance, schools, you know, fire and rescue, police protection, stormwater management, snow clearing. These are all additional costs for the town, and I fail to see where the benefit is. The people that bought their properties adjacent to this property were buying a property in a agricultural area. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Sean Kelly.
Hi, I'm Sean Kelly, 306 Springgate Court. I'm also here asking to delay or vote against the annexation of the property and the plan as it's being put forward. Basic premise is R2 zoning. I feel, and you'll hear that many of us feel, this isn't the right type of zoning to annex this property in. It's too dense, too many homes up into a fairly thin tract of land that's in between two existing established neighborhoods. You know, we have concerns. We talked about the traffic, the schools. There are other concerns that we'd like studied. You know, what about water runoff? What if there are sewage problems? Both of our neighborhoods are directly downhill from this property. I'm familiar with the Westridge side, so I'll speak to that. There's approximately 16 homes that are right on the eastern slope on the edge of the regular property. And our backyards are, I mean, they're about 45-degree angles. So we are really concerned just about basically what happens when there are problems up there. You know, we're obviously seeing with construction and asphalt and concrete, there's major water runoff issues, not to mention what will happen during construction. Again, we're established neighborhoods, and we have lots of questions that we don't see being addressed, especially when the plan is calling for 33 homes, and the master plan is estimates 24 for reasons of water and resource allocation and space allocation. Just related to the previous speaker, regarding future residents versus current residents, we're asking you to protect us, the current residents on our property. I'll speak for me. I voted for most of you, and it was not only for to lead us through a vision and to lead us into the future with the master plan, but to protect us and our property as we stand.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Billy Dove? Sorry, sir.
You're good. I'm Billy Dove, 5567 Cindy Court. First of all, I'd like to appreciate y'all letting us in. We're not part of the town, so appreciate you giving us some feedback. I guess I have more questions than a statement right now. Where are we at with this process? Because we haven't had anything from the last one where pretty much everybody in this room was totally against it, yet we we move forward, where are you voting on annexing tonight? I mean, is that where we're at? Are there more hearings involved, or where are we at? I mean, I have no idea.
So the simple answer is this is just a public hearing for us to hear you and your concerns and not to answer questions at this time. And it means no disrespect. It's just, we just want to hear what you guys
But
have to say.
there's more process
Absolutely.
part of that.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's what I don't.
This is the beginning stage.
Yeah, so again, we're on the Frederick County side, same thing like everybody talked about. I don't see any benefit to annexing it rather than Frederick County's gonna let you put 4 homes on there, 4 or 33 homes. And if you just add the lots up, it's exactly like what's in the town now being proposed right there. So that's what you're gonna get. And we're not as high up as the folks in the town. I mean, they'll be in a fishbowl. You'll be looking right down on top of them. And we all talked about the traffic and the safety and all that. I just don't see any benefit at all with doing that. Frederick County is going to give you 4 homes. It's a win-win for everyone. So that's all I got.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
James Dargill.
Good evening, Town Council, Mayor, and town residents. My name is James Starzl. I'm the owner of 307 Westridge Circle, and I'm speaking also on behalf of my daughter, who's the owner of 207 Westridge Drive. We're both 4 houses away from each other. You said this is the beginning. Hopefully, this is the beginning of the end. I'm standing firmly against this annexation. My family, whole family does. A couple of concerns we have are water concerns. We have concerns about traffic. It's hard enough sometimes coming up Prospect and making a left or right-hand turn on the main street. If we have another 100 drivers coming in and out, that's going to make it difficult. We have enough people flying up and down Prospect Road all the time. Certainly don't want to have another 100 folks that don't have the Mount Airy mindset, the Mount Airy thought, the Mount Airy growth, the folks that have been here for 20, 30, 40, 50, their whole lives. So bringing in folks from the outside, not saying they're bad folks, I'm just saying that they're not our folks. So I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about the wildlife. We're encroaching enough on wildlife throughout the town all the time. Grow makes the animals go, and the animals are going wild and they're running around all over the place. So, things with water, things with traffic, things with density, as well as was mentioned with the noise pollution, light pollution, runoff water, things like that. That's well spoken of. But what I like to do is to say, tonight's meeting is kind of, I would imagine, Jason, what you're talking about is you're getting your thumb on the pulse of what the community, what the town wants. And I'm not speaking for everyone, but I'm speaking for myself. I feel like everybody's got their thumb on that same pulse. We're feeling the same pulse. We don't want this. And I thank you all for your time. Have a good night.
Appreciate it. Passero.
I live off of North Annapolis Drive. I've been there since '87.
Ma'am, can you just give your full name, please?
Francesca Passero.
Passero, thank you.
Mostly, I'm just repeating what they said. But it's not just Prospect Road that is going to be impacted. If you're saying an average, a low ball, 33 homes, we'll say that's 66 cars. Not just on Prospect, but now that's going to cut through Rising Ridge. Everybody cuts through there. I go on that road. I work at Twin Ridge 4 times a day. And then when I go to the grocery store, when I go to the bank, when I go get fuel, when I go to Walmart, if I'm hungry, everybody uses that cut through. Do you think it's fair to that development for now all these cars that are going to be on there and drive through their development in Twin Ridge? I'm opposed to this. I'm okay with the development, but leave it with Frederick County 4 homes. Then we don't have to worry about our water. We're on well and septic. My property backs up to the parkland where Frall 35 years ago found that load of water and traded because he wanted to rezone it for townhouses. Are we stopping there? I honestly don't know. What's in the development for that park? Is it going to stay a park? Or are you going to now develop that? Because it was zoned, I believe, R1, residential. Thank you.
Thank you. Joanna? I'm sorry, I can't see your last name. Thank you.
Good evening, Joanna Kralowitz, 5515 North Annapolis Drive. Basically, I'm here just to reiterate everything that everyone else has said before. When it comes to potential parks, someone mentioned, we have plenty of parks. You got East-West Park, you got Watkins Park, you got the park off of 144. I just feel like we've already you had the meeting last week about the building and development off of 27, and I'm worried that taking this regular field, you're gonna sit here and create another Urbana. And Urbana is packed. And I don't think that's the direction that the townspeople of Mount Airy wanna have or wanna go. So if you want it, Montgomery County, if you want more parks, you want Target, you want more development, modern infrastructure, go back to Montgomery County, Howard County, Carroll County, and Frederick County. That's where we are. If you want to regentrify and everything like that, go elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Jade Kelly? JD, I'm sorry.
I'm JD Kelly, 306 Springgate Court. Probably going to be on the more emotional side of things because everybody else has already stated the facts, but I will say one thing, that one of our family members had a chance to meet the owner of Wriggler, and he said that he's going to build the houses and he's still going to build the road to the park. So if they let the houses be there and let the 5 houses or 4 houses or whatever it's been perked for, the road is going to go in anyway. And then my plea is to you. I'm a resident here. I moved here from a very urban area where the houses on top of one another. When I moved to Mount Airy, I fell in love with this town. I fell in love with the small town part of it, and I think that everybody here can speak to that. They don't want that to go away. The intimate events that we have here in this town, the more people you have is going to dump it in. And I voted for each and every one of you to protect that. Thank you.
Thank you. Casey Maker?
Casey Maker, 8 West Church Drive. When I first came to this town, one of the concerns was water. And we had moratoriums, we didn't have enough water. We kept on drilling, found some water, but now we're gonna grow the water we're gonna demand for water even more. Do we really wanna be going down this road where I see all the development that we wanna do. I see the other development, the other property that you're gonna have tonight, and this one. You're gonna add over 100 homes. Where's all that water gonna go? Where's all that water gonna come from? Second thing, you guys did a speed study on that road of Prospect. People were going over 60 miles an hour on that road. When I turn out of that road, I have people, I'm doing 25, they're coming up my butt. I mean, that's just wrong. And, I don't know how to solve that, but that's definitely a problem. Can you imagine that Blind Hill, people having accidents there? The other thing is my property backs directly behind that. Every year during the rainy season, there's water, a pool of water in my backyard. Can you imagine putting a ton more houses and all that runoff? And that hill has been stripped clean. It is all clay. So it's just gonna ride right down that hill. and it's gonna make it even worse. I call it my lake maker, because it is literally that. And if it starts going in my basement, are you guys gonna pay for that? Is the town gonna pay for that because of the impact to me? No, I'm gonna have to pay for that. I'm gonna have to dig up and put tiles down. So I don't wanna go down that road. I think that this town is, I mean, you guys keep on rejecting things like Target and large department stores. This is supposed to be a small town, and you guys wanna keep on growing. You're gonna eventually have to start thinking about letting a Target or some other big stores in here, because you keep on making the demand such that you can't get anywhere in this town.
Sir, this time, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you for your time tonight. Mark Richards.
Mark Richards, 1002 North Main Street. I worked for Howard County Fire Department for 39 years. As I retired as an assistant chief, I do have subdivision review experience. My concern is, I've got friends at the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Department. I'm not trashing them in any way, shape, or form. They're very dedicated. However, every time Mount Airy's ambulance leaves on a run that transports to either Frederick Hospital, Carroll County General Hospital, or Howard County General, they're going for a minimum of an hour, typically much longer, especially given COVID. And we don't know what's happening with COVID. Right now, it seems like it's eased up a little bit. However, Lisbon's ambulance frequently comes into Mount Airy because Mount Airy's ambulance is committed on another run. I don't know how to calculate additional traffic, but between the proposal for the Century Drive, Center Street annexation and development, I just calculated a vehicle and a half per townhouse and 2 vehicles per single family dwelling, and I got 2,940 additional vehicles. Add Greentree to that, 3,045. I'm sorry, Peachtree, 3,045. I'm sorry, Greentree. This is a game changer, not only for our emergency services. This is a game changer for the small town character of Mount Airy. This is high density residential, which is the most impactful, most service intensive type of development that you can elect. I strongly urge you to reconsider, scale things back. There are 2 north-south roads that carry traffic through Mount Airy. Route 27, Main Street. I live on Main Street. I walk in the Watkins Park.
Sir, this time, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Traffic backs up to all the way to Center Street, and I can tell you, people are going 50 miles an hour past my house on North Main.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. And I know many of you have contacted us via email. We appreciate your letters. We are reading them, taking them into concerns and considerations, and hearing the public this evening. If you did not get a chance to speak on this annex resolution for regular, please send us an email so that we can hear your concerns. Or if you just want to reiterate your concerns, please send us an email. All of our email addresses are located on the town website. Thank you for attending this meeting. I'm going to close this session and just give us about 2 minutes, and we'll start with our Greentree joint public hearing with the Planning Commission. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. I ain't slamming that thing, man. I'm gonna, no. All right, good evening. Guys make me be a teacher at this job. Thank you. All right, we're gonna begin our third and final public hearing. This is a joint public hearing between the Town Council and the Planning Commission. There are commission members here in the audience. Planning Commission members, can you raise your hand just so the audience realizes? Thank you. All right, perfect. And this joint public hearing is on the Greentree property. I can do 2 minutes per person. Just ask that you are respectful of the time so that your other residents are able to voice their opinion as well. I don't want to cut anybody off, so just be mindful of that. And we would love to hear everybody this evening. First up is Michael O'Brien. Please just state your name and address. Thank you, sir. Next up is Mark Richards.
I just want to emphasize the
Mark, I'm sorry, can you state your name and address? This is a new public hearing.
Mark Richards, 1002 North Main.
Thank you.
I just want to restate my concerns on the emergency services side of things, fire and rescue, emergency medical services. As I said before, Mount Airy's ambulance is at least an hour round trip, typically more, especially with COVID, for every transport they do to an area emergency room. That means that Lisbon's ambulance is frequently running calls, as well as Newmarket ambulance, into Mount Airy. Obviously, it takes them a much longer time to get here. Every second counts. I just think that, once again, I'll emphasize the point that especially on emergency services, high-density residential creates a demand, a higher demand for services, more personnel, more backup, and that's all I had to say. 2 minutes. 2 minutes is really not enough to go into any depth.
Thank you, sir. Ralph Gent. Yes, sir.
Ralph Gent, 2510 Kings Forest Trail in the Nottingham community. Thank you for your time. Again, I just want to emphasize, as I have before, that any new development, I believe we're at the point where the pre-concept plan is next in line to be approved or disapproved. And then after its approval, if it is approved, then a pattern book will be submitted by the developer for the more detailed water sewer allocation, et cetera. So I think that's where we are in this process. My emphasis here tonight is just that we really need to adhere to our own adequate public facilities ordinance, which requires the commission to certify that many things are adequate in order to accommodate this new development: water, sewer, traffic, schools, et cetera. And so as the pattern book comes and as we consider the pre-concept plan, we need to take a heavy look as to whether or not any of those things can be certified. And in particular, I emphasize the water and sewer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. John Webster.
Hey, good evening, guys. John Webster, 409 Saddleback Trail in the Sterling Glen community. Wanted to speak out in opposition of Greentree plus the general sort of plan here, it seems, with growth and development. And I don't know if I have the opportunity to ask questions. I know that there was a town, because I personally haven't talked to one person in this entire community who supports growth. Everyone moves to Mount Airy to get out of Columbia, Gaithersburg, Frederick. They come here because of the small town feel. I haven't personally talked to one person who wants this massive growth to fundamentally change our town overnight. So I know a couple of years ago, we had a survey. Wasn't that survey an indication of what this town wants? Can I ask a question to, is that not?
It's just a public hearing for tonight, so
Okay.
your questions are
Sure.
hypothetical in nature.
Yeah, no, I think, I'm sure that the town survey reflects still a couple of years later, I think it was 2 years ago when the survey came out. And again, me and my wife haven't talked to anyone here who supports all of this monstrous growth seemingly overnight. So I just wanted to be here in opposition. It's interesting to hear the other comments and hear how emotional people are about this. And we had no clue about this other development. It's insane. I don't know what we're doing here. We want to keep this this town the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brandon Taylor.
Brandon Taylor, 501 Saddleback Trail. I've been at the last two meetings, and what I actually saw was a bunch of people that weren't representing the town, more the interest of the developers. You guys were speaking about how many they could get in the lots. That's not your guys' concern. Your concern is to protect the interest of the community, not of the developer or the people that want to move to the town. If you want to grow the town slowly, that's fine, but packing high-density housing in here isn't the way that anybody that I've spoke to seems to think this should go. I think it's going to bring the Gaithersburg feel up this way, which nobody's looking for, except for some of the people on the Planning Commission. And I think it's going to bring a lot of problems to the area that we're not looking for. You know, we're trying to have a safe place to raise our children, not a high-density housing, 1,000 people running around all day. So, thank you.
Thank you for your time. Frank and Darlene Lindner. I apologize.
Sorry, that's okay. So I don't want to, I'm Darlene Lindner, 1708 North Main Street.
Thank you.
So I'm not going to get up here and repeat everything that everybody has already said. I came to the last meeting and asked a lot of questions after the meeting was over, and I got a lot of answers. I'm all for growth in the town. I'm not against the growth in the town. What I'm against is how much you want to shove into that little tiny area of Greentree. It's a lot of townhouses, and it's another piece of commercial real estate where if you go through Mount Airy, you'll see several pieces of commercial real estate that are vacant. So I'm not against the growth. I just think we should look at, if you want to put something there and grow it, I would like to see single family. They blend in with the neighborhoods. There's no townhouses in that area. Single family is better. I just would like to have some consideration made to a different type of plan. And I know the developer probably can't make any money off of a single family homes there because he can't get as many in, and they're looking for the density. So, but I'm not going to keep going over everything everybody else already did. I had a lot of questions answered last week, so I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
John Horner. Sorry if I said that wrong. Okay.
John Horner, 104 Westridge Drive. I can say I'm really it's opposition of all your current residential and commercial changes. The uniform crime reporting for the FBI for police department is 2.4 officers per 1,000 residents. So with everything that's proposed and the current population, we would need a police department of 28 to 29. Our current police department is 9. You're currently in a deficit of 2 of town ordinance of 1.1 per 1,000, which I have no clue how you came to that number when that's over half than the FBI national average. Your police department isn't even 24 hours yet. You can't, and you want to add 4,000 people to it, and the police department isn't even 24 hours yet. You have a block of gap. You could have 5 different agencies responding because your department's not 24 hours. who's paying for the infrastructure? Why aren't we putting this on the developers to run all the water lines inside the development? You only have to provide the main. Developers should be paying a police impact fee and fire impact fee to fund the new police officers required to handle the increased population. You're currently, as I said, you're at a deficit of 2 officers from your current town code or town ordinance requirements. And the police department has lost 1 officer every year it's been in existence. Now, you've replaced some, but I feel like you need to look at your infrastructure before you decide to add all additional people. You don't have the fire personnel, you don't have the police to handle this, as well as why are we requesting zoning changes for density in Frederick County for that property on Wriggler? Why don't we annex it in the current zoning and make the developer come back with a better plan? 33 houses on 12 acres is ridiculous. There's no commercial on the north end, so why are we putting in commercial on the Greentree? That's all churches and residential. And you're adding residential that doesn't even fit the neighborhood. I say Main Street can't handle it, which that's not your problem. You can't do anything about Main Street, because state road, but Prospect can't handle additional traffic. 27 can't handle additional traffic, but again, that's a state road. So you need the state to do something about that. So you're years out before you can do anything with these things.
Sir, that's time. Thank you very much. We have a few minutes. If anyone did not get a chance to speak and would like to speak on Greentree property, I'll allow this time to have an opportunity to voice your concerns. Not seeing any hands, I will close this joint public hearing for the Mount Airy Town Council and Planning Commission on Greentree property, and we'll start our council meeting at 7:30. Thank you very much. Council meeting. It is 7:30 on April 4th, and I'll call this meeting to order. And we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome. We had just wrapped up with 3 public hearings. The first, Ordinance 2022-4, proposed changes to the CC Community Commercial District. Our second public hearing was the annexed resolution number 44, the regular property. And then our third one was a joint public hearing between the Town Council and the Planning Commission on the Greentree property. At this time, this will be an opportunity for public comment. Depending on how many people would like to address the council, I am going to institute a time limit, especially if it still concerns one of these 3 public hearings. If there's anything else that would like to be addressed, now would be that time. All you need to do is come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and then address your council members.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Anthony Wagner, 503 Buffalo Road, and I'm speaking on the behalf of my grandfather. Good evening. I was born, raised, and lived here for most of my life in Mount Airy. When I was 18 years old, I enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1957, where I served for 3 years. When we retired, me and my wife moved to Ocean Pines, Maryland for 10 years, but due to our age, we wanted to get closer to family and friends, so we moved back. He was on the election committee for 4 years and served on the town council for another 16. Mount Airy is a great town to live in and a wonderful place to raise your family. I sure hope we can work together to save the Flatiron Building. In addition to when I was a kid, I used to get my hair cut by Mr. Pryor's in his barber shop. Howard Hood also repaired my shoes a couple times with baseball gloves. My uncle had his carpenter shop in the middle floor. The Legion was on the top floor. Later, when I was on a part of the town council, it was on the top floor. And the middle to top floor, where it had moved to its present location. First library was on the middle under the top floor. Sorry. The Historical Trust of Maryland, the Preservation of Maryland, and concerned citizens have all proposed an awesome idea. And with that being said, there are a lot of available grants for this project. We would like to explore them for keeping the town history. Please vote and save the Flatiron Building. Addressed, former councilman, businessman, and longtime resident, Billy Wagner.
Thank you.
Okay, Matt McDonough, 404 Briar Way. So the reason why I'm up here is because it came to my attention about the Beck property with over 700 homes. That's about 2,100 people. You're thinking about 1,400 cars. I just think that's a disaster for the town. 27, I definitely know during the evening, coming on 27 North is a disaster. It's going to be 1,400 cars. I think it's going to overcrowd the schools. This is in Carroll County. We already have to fight to keep Mary Elementary open. We also have to, another thing in Carroll County Public Schools is they closed New Windsor Middle. So a lot of the people that used to go to New Windsor Middle would have gone there, go to Mount Airy Middle. And I think that's going to overcrowd that school despite being new with this community. And overall, I just think it's a disaster. One other thing I would like to add is this Beck property brings a lot of commercial properties. I think town residents, if this passed, I think town residents should have a say in what those commercial properties should be, because those commercial properties are going to be in the town and town residents are going to be using them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Brian Beta, 1607 Loxley Lane, Mount Airy. So I wanted to comment briefly on a vote taken on November 1st, 2021 that voted me into the Planning Commission as a voted seat member. On November 12th, I was called by the mayor that was newly elected and told that there were some gray areas with the voting and that he was not going to approve the seat for me. He also stated that he wanted to have some further conversation with me about that and that we could arrange a meeting to discuss it further. And he was sending a letter. That letter was never received by me. And fortunately, what was received by me was an email by Colleen Riley on the 29th of November, the day of the Planning Commission meeting, saying that the letter was lost in the mail and, well, she needed to make sure and verify the address to make sure I got it. She had sent that letter over to me that afternoon. I had sent back several dates to meet with you, Mayor Hushhour, to Colleen to approve a meeting for us to talk about these gray areas and these other things. I also sent my application again because you requested to have that sent. Nothing. December 7th council meeting, there was a bit of a back and forth between the council, the Planning Commission chair, and Carl Munder, discussing how I wasn't at events or whatever, saying some things about me. I do appreciate you cleaning that up with me privately. Thank you. Appreciate it. In January, there was nothing mentioned about the voting at all. There was a closed meeting to discuss the matter, apparently. February, there was a nomination for Lindy to be on the Planning Commission that was shot down by the council. And then I got another call from you, Mayor, in the middle of February, saying that there was a plan for Lindy to be the person in charge and me to be the alternate, and that was muddied up by the council, I guess, because there was something discussed about it. And then I told you that I was elected to be that seat, and that's what I was going to settle for.
Brian, can you please wrap up?
Yep. So I'm requesting that I have that seat, and I have it confirmed by you. It's been 5 months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom Cindric, 205 Heritage Farm Drive, Mount Airy. I was not for the police department when we first wanted, when former mayor wanted it. I thought it would be an undue expense. I thought it would be rife with problems. But we were assured 24-hour coverage. We were assured we'd get speedier responses. We don't have 24-hour coverage, although I was recently corrected outside by a council member that we now have a fully staffed police department. So if we have a fully staffed police department, Council Secretary, when are we getting 24-hour coverage?
Chief Doug can address that during his report.
So when are we getting it?
Again, Chief Doug can address that in his report.
Oh, okay, so you don't know.
We are budgeted for 12 officers, which currently meets our APFO.
Okay, and when are we getting 24-hour coverage? That's the question, right? We recently fired a lieutenant, didn't we, or asked him to resign for failure to keep our officers certified for the state of Maryland. Is anybody else aware of that? I'm sure not. Maybe they should be. Maybe you all need to fix the problems that you've created by having this police department.
Thank you.
John Horner, 104 West Ridge Drive. I would just like to say I don't appreciate being called a liar after I spoke about the Greentree by a council member. Pamela Reeds, you seeked me out to tell me I was wrong about we currently have 9 officers. And I was wrong. We currently have 9. I was saying we had 9 officers and then the chief, which would be 10. And you told me, no, we have 12, including Chief Reits. I was wrong. We have 9, including the chief. So I would just like to say I don't appreciate being called a liar before you have the facts on how many officers we actually have.
So what I did was correct you because half of your statement in the public hearing was wrong. And if you're going to make a statement publicly, you should make sure that your facts are
wrong?
Correct. 2.1, Lynn?
2.4 is the FBI UCR national average. And
Our
I stated
is
town ordinance was 1.1.
Our ordinance is 1.1, which we meet.
Not currently. You are in a deficit.
Larry?
Well, straighten up when the chief comes up. Actually, there's a couple of things that are being misled. The APFO is 11 officers currently
And I stated that
that are
in my-
funded.
in my
So we have
entry.
11 officers funded. We're currently at 9. When the chief comes up, we'll talk about 24-hour coverage.
And I stated that in my statement. I
That's
stated
fine.
that the town ordinance was 1.1, and I did cite the FBI national average. And I did cite the town ordinance for 1.1.
We are not the FBI.
That's fine. Thank you.
I was just using that for comparison for the town residents.
Anyone else for public comment?
Lee Higwood, 1808 South Main Street. I like what was done at the parks down at where the new playground is over there. I just had one idea that I wanted to add with that possibly is, you know, maybe some more shade features added for like slides and some of the playground area. Wildwood is nice. That's, you know, a lot more shaded. So sometimes I'll take my kids over there, you know, in the middle of the summer, but looking forward to using, you know, some of that park down there at Watkins. And then hopefully if, you know, things go through with the back property, that'd be nice to have a more of a wildwood type park, you know, with some of that forest that's over there on the east side over there. And then another quick thing about the Flatiron building is that, you know, I kind of had an idea previous to someone else mentioning, hey, maybe open up the bottom there so people can walk through and have like a, you know, open doors, open window, public space that's lit, you know, that we can utilize in there. Another idea kind of to go with that was kind of an indoor farmer's market, since we only have like 4 months out of the year or whatever for our farmer's market. You know, maybe it could be all year round indoor kind of event space that could be opened up for that. Maybe add some more windows to add light into that space, but keep it so we don't have to like heat the whole space and cool it. It's more like a, you know, pavilion type of space that would be able to be used and still keep Park Avenue open. It, I think, would be a good idea too with that. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. We don't have any presentations or any speakers, so council members will move on to the approval of the council meeting minutes and closed meeting minutes. We have March 2022 town council meeting minutes. We also have March 2022 closed meeting minutes, 3-305B, to consider the acquisition of real property for public purpose and matters directly related thereto, Harrison LaShare property, as well as the same statute, Buffalo Road and Summit Ridge Park. Any corrections?
Yes, Council President, I would like to make an amendment to the meeting minutes, the council meeting minutes. Under item 12, under sanitation and recycling, it currently says Councilmember Demoter did not have a meeting, period. I would like to have that amended to say Councilmember Demoter did not have a meeting, comma, but gave an update on upcoming commission events, period. So I will be happy approving the meeting minutes with that addition.
Okay. Is there a second to that amendment?
I'll second.
All right, Councilwoman Reed seconds. Any other changes or updates to the meeting minutes? All right, with that amendment, I'll make a motion for the approval. Is there a second on that?
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting minutes, good. Next up is the Mount Airy Police Department monthly report. Chief Reits. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, council and everyone. It's Chief Reits, the Mount Airy Police Department monthly report. Regarding trainings and meetings completed during the month, Corporal Ginevra assisted the Tawnytown Police Department as the assistant firearms instructor
with their patrol rifle school. We had 2 officers, Officer Klezak and Officer Gebhardt, that attended that school and are now certified to carry patrol rifles. Again, reminder on the community services front that we do have a prescription and over-the-counter medication disposal system at the police station, where you can drop your unused items off in the drop box at headquarters where they're appropriately disposed of. During the month of March, we handled 586 calls for service. This was a 3% increase from February of 2022, which was at 573. It's also a 13% decrease from March of 2021. In traffic enforcement, we conducted 79 traffic stops during the month, issued 48 citations, 67 warnings, 6 equipment repair orders. Officers made 3 DUI arrests and 5 other traffic arrests. As far as criminal enforcement during the month, as far as emerging crime trends, we did have a 3rd catalytic converter theft from a parked vehicle in the 100 block of South Main Street. Again, this was the 3rd incident over the past 2 months, maybe an emerging trend. We also had several complaints of unemployment insurance claim fraud, which is basically along the lines of identity theft, where people were submitting claims to for unemployment and so forth. During the month, we handled 1 theft, 7 frauds, 8 assaults, 2 destructions of property, 5 narcotic offenses, and 2 counterfeit forgery offenses, with a total of 25 Group A offenses, which is a 14% increase from February. We handled 7 Group B offenses, which is a slight increase from February as well, and we made 8 criminal arrests during the month. And that there was no opioid overdoses this month as well, so we're proud to report that. So, does anybody have any questions?
I think I'll turn it over to the mayor.
All right, we'll make sure everybody gets on the same sheet of music. So we're currently budgeted for 11 officers, okay? We've had 2 officers who have recently left, so we're sitting at 9 officers right now. Okay, as far as 24-hour coverage goes, we've talked about that, and I think we're both in agreement on a plan. Would you like to discuss that plan a little bit?
Honestly, right now what we're doing is no different than any other police department in Carroll County is doing. It's in the smaller municipalities that they have a certain number of officers. If you look at those police departments, Manchester Police Department, Hampstead Police Department, Sykesville Police Department, none of these departments are 24 hours, 7 days a week. They all have like a certain allotment of time. They try to keep it during the key hours and provide police protection to the town. After that point, when they, let's say, close up shop, the sheriff's department and the state police come in, and then they provide, they respond to calls for service in the town. So we're doing nothing different than any other town does in Carroll County, or in that matter, any other county around. When you get to look at departments that have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service, you have to increase the manpower, because you need at least 5.7 bodies to staff a 24-hour position. 1 person, 5.7 bodies. You'd like to have at least 2 officers out, because now this climate that the police are in, it's not safe to be out here patrolling with 1 officer. You need to have a patrol party. You need to have someone else around. So we're looking at rounding it up 12 officers. When we get to that point, we could probably do it with 11 right now. But with that said, you're not taking into account annual leave, vacation, 2 or 3 weeks a year, sick leave, training, court time, and a multitude of other factors when you're looking at having these officers on the street. So ideally, 11 officers, you can do it, but you're still going to be paying overtime. You're still going to be working shorthanded from time to time. So best case scenario is to look at other departments that are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which would you have to look at Town, Brunswick. Just go look, see how many officers they have working for them. That's all you got to do. And they cover for that. But we do have a plan to move to get 24-hour coverage when we get 2 other officers. We're in the process of hiring 2 additional officers right now as we speak. They're going through their background investigations. So that will bring us back up to 11 officers. And that will be our plan to go to a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week rotation from that point forward, trying to use a 12-hour work schedule like the Sheriff's Department does.
So to be clear, we're going to take our 11 officers and we will have a 24-hour coverage with the 11 officers. And during the process of creating the budget, I explained that I know that it puts a burden on the police department, but come this time next year when we're looking at next year's budget, we'll look at how it worked with 11 officers. And if we need to add the additional officer at that point, that would be the time to do it, to go up to 12 in advance of whatever development is coming down the pike.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Any other council members with any questions or concerns? Chief, thank you for your time and your officers. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll have the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company report. Bruce Wells. Good evening, sir.
We had a busy month. Rescue calls, we had 111 in Carroll, 52 in Frederick, 4 in Howard, and 2 in Montgomery for a total of 169 rescue calls. Fire, we had 13 in Carroll, 12 in Frederick, 3 in Howard, 5 in Montgomery for a total of 33, which resulted in 124 calls for service in Carroll, 64 in Frederick, 7 in Howard, 7 in Montgomery for a total of 202 calls. I'd like to let everyone know that starting May 1st, which is the Sunday, hear that?
Get ready.
We're going to have the drive-through barbecue chicken at the firehouse.
I was like, what I missed?
He was still trying to write down your numbers from Montgomery County. No, wake up, it's food.
Say it again, Chief.
So I repeat, Carl.
I'm fine, thank you.
We will start May 1st with that, starting at noon till we're sold out. So that'll be back in service after the winter break.
And I would suggest, well, two things, Bruce. First off, I feel like I'm in the presence of royalty here now, getting the fireman's report.
You're not.
Well, he's the volunteer of the year now. So I wanted to say thank you for doing that, and he's well-deserved award. Also, if you are interested in the barbecue chicken, I do suggest get there early because more than likely it will be sold out within an hour and a half tops.
We hope so.
You hope so.
That's our plan.
And congratulations, Bruce.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had 2 comments as well, Bruce. First of all, thank you. Congratulating you on being the volunteer of the year as well. That's for all your work that you did on the election board. So I appreciate you and everybody else in here who is on the election board who assisted you along that process. The other thing I wanted to point out, I was going to do it in my report, but you're up here now. I got a call from Dan Caoli today, and he said that the fire company is going to allow us to use the activities building once a year for the Volunteer of the Year award with no charge. So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, the board did approve that. Yeah.
Okay, and relay that we greatly appreciate that.
We're glad to be of service to do that, considering all the town gives us. So, yeah.
Thank you, Bruce. All right, next up will be our Civil Air Patrol report presented to us by Captain Rolfe. Good evening, sir.
Mayor, council members, this is our monthly report for March 2022. Under mission, we did not have any assigned missions during the reporting period, but we did participate in a wing level, which is the entire state for Civil Air Patrol, search and rescue exercise in Ocean City, and conducted simulated ground team missions. For community support, we repaired and upgraded the flagpole at the Isaac Walton Lee Reservation, as well as provided on-site support to one of their hosted shooting events that they had over the weekend. Under qualifications, one of our members completed qualification for ground team member first class, and a second member completed qualifications for ground team member second class, improving our capacity and ability to conduct missions in that regard. For training, we had several members participate in canine-based search and rescue training with the Western Maryland Canine SAR team. We also conducted 8 hours of ground team fundamentals training, 15 hours of radio communication training, and 18 of our members completed adult and infant CPR training. We have nothing to report regarding flight time, and unfortunately, we did not add any members this last month. For operational status, we remain in phase 3 for COVID, which allows us to operate with very little restrictions, and our ground team remains fully mission capable and ready to operate. On the horizon, we are going to be hosting an open house on the 21st of May. Our location is still TBD, but I want to invite all members of the community and anyone interested in learning more about the program, whether as a senior member or cadet, to come out to that event and join. But I also want to say, while not in this report, that our Wednesday meetings are likewise open to the community and anyone that would like to stop by. If any of your questions, that completes my report for this month.
And just to clarify, where are the meetings?
We meet at the Isaac Walton Reservation.
And what time on Wednesdays?
From 6:45 to 9:15 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Sir.
Any other questions from the council members or mayor? Fantastic. Thank you, Captain. We'll move into new business. First up is the installation of advanced metering infrastructure and a system recommendation by Barney Quinn. Barney?
Thank you. This is part 2 of the water meters. If you remember, we back in January, we ordered our water meters, all of our residential meters, which are due in June, and this is for the installation, which would be by a different company. We have, we put the bid out and we received 2 acceptable bids, and the better of the 2 bids is from National Metering Services in the amount of $423,805. You'll notice on the bid review, this includes 3,300 residential meters, which is about all of our residential meters, but it only includes 1 each of the other size meters. Unfortunately, we don't have a good count of all of our commercial meters, so those have to still be ordered separately, or on top of this. We wanted to have 1, so we had a cost per meter. So the 423 is not the total. We estimate that total to be close to the 500,000. So that's the reason for the recommendation awarding National Metering Services in the amount of 500,000.
Barney, when can we expect a better estimate for our commercial?
So the only way we're doing it is as they're installing it, we're getting a record of how many of each size. So they have to tell us, hey, I need 20 1.5-inch meters, and then we order 1.5-inch meters. Okay. And those will be faster to come in than the 6 months that it took for all the residential meters.
Okay.
Can't either Carroll County Chamber of Commerce or the Carroll County maybe licensing department tell us how many businesses are in Mount Airy? I think Melissa Thorne has access to some of that information.
We have that, and we know some of the meter sizes, but we don't know all the meter sizes. I mean, we can go out and survey it ourselves right now, but the idea is just to, as the installers are installing them, or they're making calls first, they find out what size meter they need, and then we order them and then schedule them.
So is the estimated maximum of 500 based on an average cost between a residential and a commercial?
Yeah, we figured most of those meters are going to be 1.5-inch, maybe 2-inch. We're going to have very few anything larger than that. So just taking an average of those costs, and for the extra 300 meters or 275 meters, we just guesstimate what that difference would be.
So for clarification, council members, we are approving $423,805 to not exceed the 500,000, so that Barney Quinn and National Metering Services do not have to come back to us every single time for a budget amendment. So this is with your understanding that we could go up to 500,000 without going over 500,000. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I have a, Council President,
Go ahead.
Follow-up question. So in making your decision between the 2 companies, was it solely price, or did you consider other factors, and what made you pick National Metering Services?
Well,
or was it just a price issue?
Certainly, both are very qualified. This is all they do, is just install meters, basically. But price certainly was the sole factor of why we...
Were there other criteria in the evaluation, or it was
Well, again, we certainly want somebody who's qualified, who can do this many meters, and they do, 50,000 at a time in a large city.
Okay.
So, both of these are extremely well qualified.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Sir, Council President, Mayor. Okay. Just to clarify also before, I might be stealing Councilwoman Gilletti's thunder of thing here. The funding for this is coming from ARPA, correct? Just a lucky guess. I know, just.
Know me well, Councilman
Yeah.
That is correct.
Okay, and as we get closer to the installation of these in the residential units, I guess we'll hopefully put something on the next quarter water bill. If you have any questions, contact town hall, and the process will be put up online.
Yeah, we'll put some notifications out there.
Okay. All right, cool.
Barney, I do want to add a follow-up question. You had just stated that most, to your knowledge, that they would be up to 3 inches and not necessarily going to 4, 6, or line item number 9, which tends to, I don't know if what that does to the prices, but I just did a quick little price comparison between bid item number 1, national metering, and what is that, utility use? Utility use is about $20 cheaper. Utility use on the next line item is about $10 cheaper. The next one, utility use, is about $40 cheaper. However, on that next item, it's about $50 more expensive. So right now, if you do a wash, utility use is still $20 cheaper. Then it goes up to another $12, but then that number 6 is about $150 less expensive. And if the idea is that we're going to be looking at more of bid items number 1 through 6, it turns out that utility use is less expensive than the national metering services, with the idea that we don't really dip into 7, 8, and 9. Was any of this taken into consideration before choosing national metering services?
Yeah, absolutely. If you'll look, total additional cost towards the bottom, national metering services includes all the additional costs, where utility use had separate line items for additional costs. I just summarized those into, it's an extra $142,000.
Okay.
So that their total of $516,000 is not including the extra meters. So already they're above what we're recommending, or estimating what the total will be for national metering services, and that's without purchasing the extra commercial meters. So,
but that also would be a comparison to, like, the 423 doesn't also do the commercial as well, but you're just looking at the base price, the 423 without commercial, 516 without commercial.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, again, we're saying another 75,000 will cover the commercial meters for national metering services, where that only takes us up to 500,000.
Okay.
Where the other one's already over 500,000.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation. I appreciate it.
Mr. Council President, one more question for the engineer here, if you so allow.
Go ahead.
I take it that national metering services are fully bonded and insured and things of that nature. If there's any concerns after the fact, or particularly residential, it should be under their policy.
Yeah, it's a requirement of the contract. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. I will make a motion for the town staff recommendation of awarding the installation of advanced metering infrastructure system to National Metering Services Incorporated in the amount of $423,805, with the notion that this is not to exceed $500,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Munder seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you, Barney, for answering all of our questions.
Yep, thanks.
All right. Next up, I just want to give a quick summary to the charter amendment workshops that were provided just a couple weeks ago. The council and the mayor went through Charter Amendment Resolution 2021-2, and this amendment refers to the chief financial officer and the duties that are included there too. The council and the mayor had picked up on page 5 of 8, beginning with chapter 16-14, overdue liens and taxes, made their way through. Tom, did you ever check on that 2/3 of 1%? Okay, can you make a motion? We went through the purchasing, clarified a few sections on purchasing. We also went through financing, as well as the reduction in gratis of waiver of charges for water bills. And that really wrapped up that charter amendment. I would like to get a clean copy in council's hands and then have another public hearing with the clean copy. And then we'll put that to a vote. So if we can get that clean copy, and then can we make a note for a public hearing for May, please, on Charter Amendment Resolution 2021-2, and then council, we need to set a date for the next Charter Amendment 2021-3. So if everyone can please pull out their calendars. You guys are all very sweet waiting for me. I appreciate it.
So I don't see any commission meetings on April 26th or April 28th.
Ooh, I like the 28th.
Is it?
Just remember, we'll need a budget workshop as well.
Thank you.
If not two.
No, not two. Does anyone have any if we did May 5th? That's the first Thursday of the month.
I will be unavailable on
Okay.
May 5th.
That's generally the workshop for the Planning Commission. Okay. Thank you, Roxanne.
You indicated the 28th was good for you, Council President, of April? Or is that? Okay, no, never mind.
I just said we can't do the 26th, that's streets.
Yeah, 28th. I don't believe the.
Okay, that's fine. Then what, instead of us sitting here pondering, let's all come up with a couple dates since the May council meeting's on May 2nd, which is just a short 3.5 weeks away. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So we'll set the next date, May 2nd. Is that okay? Thank you. It's hard to get 7 people to agree on a date. All right, Mr. Mayor, you are up for commission appointments and reappointments.
All right, thank you. All right, tonight I am recommending at the April Town Council meeting that Lindy Camerata be appointed to the Board of Appeals. You want me to just take them all separate?
Yeah, you may go ahead and read, and then we'll do the vote for that.
Okay. All right. Lindy Camerata be appointed to the Board of Appeals. Wade Gallagher be appointed to the Board of Appeals as an alternate. Chris Sparr to be appointed to the Beautification Commission. Stephen O'Malley be appointed to the Planning Commission as alternate. Mark Mignona be reappointed to the Board of Parks and Recreation. Diane Gleason be reappointed to the Board of Appeals, and Carol Rolls be reappointed to the Ethics Commission. And I would ask you that if there needs to be discussion about any of these members, please give me a chance to comment.
Okay, will do. Council members, we'll do the reappointments first, and then we'll get to the newly elected appointments. So we'll begin with Mark Mignogna, going to the Board of Recreation and Parks. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Please note one nay. Diane Gleason be reappointed, sorry, my mic cut out. Diane Gleason be reappointed to the Board of Appeals. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. And Carol Rolls be reappointed to the Ethics Commission. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, unanimous. All right. We will move up to Lindy Camerata for appointment to the Board of Appeals. Mayor, if you have anything that you would like to add, I know I have some questions as well, but if you want me to ask my questions first.
Yeah, I'd just say that, I tried numerous times to get Lindy onto the Planning Commission. That didn't work out. I think with her experience, being a former chairman of the Planning Commission and extensive knowledge of all things planning, I think she'd be really good on the Board of Appeals.
Okay. So my first question, and this is more of just clarification, so please don't take offense. Is there any reason that she has not been serving on planning?
Yes, because her seat was not validated by the council.
And I thought it was, and maybe we're still trying to understand this process, that even until her seat is specifically filled, she's allowed to still sit on that planning commission. Am I misunderstanding? And I'm okay if I'm wrong. I'm allowed to be.
You're correct. So if she takes a position on the Board of Appeals, she cannot any longer serve on the Planning Commission.
So I'll restate my question just to make sure that we're all clear. Should she still be serving on planning because her seat has not been yet filled?
She serves on the Planning Commission until A, she resigns, or B, her successor is seated, which has not yet occurred.
Thank you. Okay. Now, we go into the clarification of, I'm sure, and everyone here on this at this table received my understanding of when Lindy has been to a planning commission, and now it's probably been 7 meetings since then. Mayor, did you ever get a letter stating that her resignation?
She has not resigned. I'd make a couple points. First of all, the letter or email that you sent that broke down how many meetings she had missed, even though I disagreed with it, I did not argue that letter. I said, okay, fine. If that's the way it's going to be, then we'll say that she's missed that many meetings, and therefore I put her up for appointment one more time, and she was rejected by this council. At that point, to use a phrase, I threw in the towel. I also had the ability as mayor to move people from one commission to another. And so I have chosen to relinquish that argument of trying to get Lindy on the Planning Commission, although I think she would be very good on it, and have decided that I would move her over to the Board of Appeals, and therefore she would not be, no longer, as of tonight, if she's voted on to the Board of Appeals, she has vacated that Planning Commission seat.
Okay, thank you, sir. And my word or my research is not the old B. I just did what I could to make sure that the facts were clear, and that's fine. We can agree to disagree. Any other council members have a comment or question, concern? Make sure your mic is on. Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Okay, my apologies. All right, we will vote on Lindy Camerata to be appointed to the Board of Appeals. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Nay. That was a 2-3 for nay. All right, next up is Wade Gallagher to be appointed to the Board of Appeals as an alternate. I don't really have any comments, so if anybody else has anything.
Maybe I would rather put Wade on as the permanent or the full position as opposed to the alternate position.
Okay.
Is there a problem with making that change at the meeting? Okay,
No,
so
there
I
is
would
no
make
problem.
him the full member.
Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and vote on Wade Gallagher to be a full member of the Board of Appeals. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Wade Gallagher is on the Board of Appeals as a full member. Christopher Sparr to be appointed to the Beautification Commission. If anyone has any comments or concerns.
I have comments. I can give you the information from Beautification. He's a member of the Carroll County Forestry Board, so he seems to be a valuable asset to that commission as far as everything they do with trees and the forestry and Windy Ridge Park, and he has already provided so much information that I didn't know about rails to trails, and so he seems to be a good fit for that commission.
Okay.
And he's been attending their meetings for a while, so.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and take a vote on Christopher Sparr to be appointed to the Beautification Commission. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Christopher Sparr will be on beautification. Next up is Stephen O'Malley to be appointed to the Planning Commission as an alternate.
Okay, and he lives in one of our developments over on the Frederick County side. I sat down with Roxanne and had a meeting with the chairman. I've talked to him on the phone. I think he would be an excellent addition as the alternate on the Planning Commission.
Again, some clarification and no disrespect, but I'm trying to understand, it's sort of, I don't know how to word this. Again, we voted Brian Beta in prior to the election, but he hasn't been seated in that voting position. So we as a body have agreed that that seat has been filled, but you have not, because you have not confirmed him. Why is Stephen O'Malley being recommended for an alternate when you yourself have acknowledged that that voting seat has not been filled?
I'm acknowledging that the seat has been occupied. According to the council, he was not my nominee. Now, I've come here and tried to find a pathway forward before, and I had a pathway forward, and then the council decided that they would not approve the person that I was trying to put on the Planning Commission at that time. At that point, I felt like I'd done my due diligence in trying to provide a seat for that person that you guys had confirmed prior to me being elected, but it was decided that that pathway was no longer suitable. And when that happened, I backed out as well and said, well then, why should I seat him if you're not willing to let me have my person on the Planning Commission? But obviously, we're going to end up tied up again. And we're going to end up in this for month after month if we continue down this road. I have two people sitting in this audience right now who want to be on the Planning Commission, both of which I think would be incredibly good on the Planning Commission. And I'd love to have them. But as the mayor, everybody who's on the Planning Commission serves until they either resign or their appointment is up. And the next appointments aren't up for a year. But to move forward, since you are not approving of my choice for the Board of Appeals, I think I could take at least one of those persons and put them on the Board of Appeals, and I think that they would serve very well on the Board of Appeals as well. So, provided tonight my choice for the alternate on the Planning Commission is approved, then I would be willing to swear in Mr. Beta and my alternate at the same time this month. And next month, I would put up one of these other two persons who I think would serve on the Board of Appeals really well. I would put them up for that position as the alternate on the Board of Appeals. So, once again, I am trying to find a pathway forward, and I hope that you're willing to flex a little bit as well.
So that I understand, are you willing to swear Brian in for the seat that he was elected for by this council if we give you the alternate?
Yes.
I don't know if that's the right way to say it.
Well, I'll put it a little bit of a different way. If you guys and ladies approve my alternate on the Planning Commission tonight, then I will swear in the person who was appointed by the interim mayor and approved by this council. I'm happy to do that, and I would do that within the month of April prior to the April Planning Commission meeting. So you get the guy that y'all confirmed back in November, and I'll get a person on there who I'd like to have on there, and next month I'll be putting another person up for Board of Appeals who I think would serve really well in that position.
I just, Council President, I just
No,
have
go ahead. I was
it's
opening it up.
It's a process, it's purely a process question, and that is, should we, that could be a path forward. Should we first take the step of swearing in Mr. Beta, and then, once that's done, at the next meeting, vote on an alternate? Because it's almost like one step hasn't been completed yet. So that's just my only
It seems like
process
a barter for bodies at the table, and that doesn't feel right. Like, the process is Brian should be sworn in because he was confirmed by this town council. And I think at that point, we can vote in Stephen O'Malley, like Mayor suggested.
Well, what I would say, and it kind of came up at the charter meeting, eventually you got to trust somebody. Yeah. And I've promised you that I would swear in Mr. Beta and I would swear in Mr. O'Malley at the same time, or certainly prior to the Planning Commission meeting. And, you know, you got to give me one person. You got to give me somebody on the Planning Commission, and you're not doing it. And it's very frustrating to me because I'm sitting through all these public hearings, and I'm hearing things that I was elected to go out there and try to listen to the residents and put people on the commissions who I feel serve the purposes of, be it the town residents, the communities, and provide a balance to the Planning Commission. So again, I would ask you to go ahead and appoint Steve O'Malley as the alternate, and I get a person on there right away, and you'll have a person on there who you selected back in November, and I'll take one of the other persons and move them over to the Board of Appeals next month. And you have my word, and the TVs are on, and people are watching, so it's going to happen.
I have a question, if I may.
May.
It's purely procedural, and I think it goes in line with what Councilman Demoter was saying, and I'm going to ask the attorney. If we go ahead and vote in an alternate, does that have any effect on the fact that you did the legal research, our council president did the research with staff, and we did find out that Mr. Beta took the empty seat that was vacated? last spring. So he's just waiting to be sworn in by the mayor. So if we vote in somebody tonight for that alternate position, is that gonna fill that empty seat? Are we gonna mess ourselves up procedurally? It's not that I don't trust the mayor, because he's right. He's on live TV and he's saying it in front of a huge audience. I trust 100% that he's gonna swear Mr. Beta in. We can have him walk over and do it right now. He can do it after the meeting, because I've actually seen him do it at, what was it, a planning meeting or some meeting that he walked over and stood in a workshop, and he stood right there in the hallway and swore a commission person in, volunteer. So is that procedurally going to be an issue, or do we need to have him just go swear him in right now and get this done and save 20 minutes of discussion? Swearing in took him 30 seconds.
Councilwoman, it was determined that the alternate position is a specific position.
That's what I want him to just answer procedurally.
Yes.
That's correct.
So Steve O'Malley will be the alternate.
So that's it. We're good with that.
Yes.
I'm going to ask one. Oh, do you have a question? So my question is then, when we vote Stephen O'Malley for alternate, and Brian Beta will then take his seat at the end of this month at the Planning Commission meeting, as far as terms of office go, does his term go when we voted?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll keep it short and simple. Do you have one more comment, or are you okay?
Just a suggestion.
You can suggest.
Kind of building on what Lynn said, Mayor Hushhour, would you be against going outside, taking 30 seconds or a minute and swearing Brian in, and then we'll vote on Stephen?
He's allowed to answer.
I know.
She's asking a
I know.
suggestion.
No.
There's no harm.
I know.
If he says no, that's fine.
Okay. What I would be willing to do is following the council meeting, we could do it between the council meeting and the closed meeting. That might flow a little bit better.
Brian, are you able to stay? Okay.
Perfect.
I will call Stephen O'Malley's vote for Planning Commission as alternate. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, Stephen O'Malley is the Planning Commission alternate. That takes care of reappointments and appointments. Thank you. All right, if you're following along in our agenda, we are now in Ordinances and Resolutions. And first up is Annexation Resolution number 44, regular property. And this is for us to set a date for vote on the annexation. And I will take comments or suggestions.
Mr. President, I do have a suggestion more for the town attorney as legal wording in the annexation agreement. Can we add specific caveats or other parts to the annexation agreement, or is that allowed in the annexation agreement, like something needs to be handled or part of the plat plan or the approval plan or what the concept plan?
Without knowing specifically
Yeah.
what you're talking about, I would say generally this would be the time to give me guidance on what, on your behalf, you would want in an annexation agreement,
Okay.
supposing and under the condition that the annexation were actually approved.
Yes. And currently we are, I mean, say at the last time the regular property came up, we were waiting for Frederick County or certain approvals to happen. Have we gotten all the correct approvals?
So you're talking about the zoning waiver that is required to, if an annexation occurs after annexation, vest the town essentially with zoning authority over the property. Without that waiver, Frederick County is taking the position that it would, for 5 years after annexation, control the zoning on that property. So I'll just refer to that as a zoning waiver. Frederick County, this is unique from my experience, has said that they will not address any request for waiver without a signed annexation agreement. So, you know, where does, you know, there are a number of ways you can handle that, okay? You could, in theory, sign an annexation agreement. That does not mean you're approving the annexation. The annexation agreement, as you've probably seen, is littered with the statement this agreement is null and void if the annexation is not approved and if the the Frederick County government, it's not commissioners anymore, does not approve the waiver. Okay, so that's one way you could do it. Or you could, there are a number of other ways you could do it, but that is still outstanding. The waiver has not been provided, and that's unique. Carroll County does not demand a signed annexation agreement in order to undertake that waiver. They usually have done it by the time the hearing takes place.
Okay. And are you aware have we received all the comments back from Carroll County and the state on this?
I didn't get anything in writing from Carroll County, but verbally, they don't have any control or jurisdiction of it. All they do is say it's concurrent with our master plan.
Okay.
So, again, and in Frederick County, we're not getting any comments back until they get a signed agreement.
Okay. And
a resolution.
Were we waiting something from the state also, or is that something else?
We did get that was in your packet.
Okay.
We did get that. The one, it's not really a wrinkle, but additional comment that it brings about is an amendment to the water and sewer master plan to
extend it,
to bring this into a more imminent category for extension of water and sewer if annexation were approved.
Follow-up step.
Right.
It's in the long range for water and sewer allocation. So
I just wanted to make sure we weren't proceeding ahead with without receiving any approvals or comments we needed to. That's it.
And what everybody is referring to is this memorandum. There's 4 things here that we're looking to make sure with the following conditions. And a lot of these 4 conditions that are on this paper is what has been discussed this evening.
May I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Yep. Why wouldn't you just do this during the next regular council meeting?
We haven't set a date yet.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if that was an option.
We can, we can do this at the next council meeting. We can do this at the following council meeting. We can do this whenever, I guess. I was going to make a recommendation for a June council meeting. This would allow council to absorb any other public comment, as well as if we needed to address the annex resolution agreement with our town attorney, make any changes, go back and forth, whatever, that would give us time. So I am just throwing out there a June council meeting. If anyone has any opinions or would want it at the May or would want it later, I'm willing to entertain those ideas.
I would say June.
That's what I said.
No, I'm just, let me finish. Because I'm looking at the calendar, July, the first Monday is July 4th, unfortunately. So next is July. I mean, I would rather have it in August and July. So it's either June or August, probably. And I guess would June, if we have it in June, would that allow enough time to comment?
I think so.
Okay.
I think May's a little too fast. It's only 3.5 weeks away before, and it's the first Monday, like literally May 2nd. I think that's too fast for us to do a vote. I think June is a good compromise for that. I think August, we don't need to keep the public waiting around and saying what the heck is going on.
Right.
So I'm going to make a recommendation for the June council meeting for the vote for the annex resolution number 44, the Wriggler property. I would just like to get consensus from the council, just so I'm not standing up here and people blame me for this. Although I'm okay taking the blame, not all the time.
So to be clear, so this, you said for a vote on it?
Yes, this is to vote on the annex resolution for the Wriggler property.
Okay, just keep in mind, I'm looking at my notes, and my notes say the June 6th meeting is the first date the council can take a vote on the Beck site plan. Is that correct?
I don't have those notes in front of me. I have the April notes in front of me.
So either way, I mean, May, we have Greentree, which is going to be a big discussion. In June, we have Beck property. I don't know why we couldn't do both at the June meeting.
We could, I just wanted to highlight the fact that we're gonna be, the Beck property is gonna be front and center as well.
Okay. All right.
Maybe we limit the June agenda so that we can focus on those two.
All right, note to self, 1-page agenda.
Yeah.
Got it.
No more votes on June, Jason. Council President.
Did everyone forget about the budget or what?
Oh, yeah, we forgot that.
Charlene's staring at me.
And the flat iron.
And the flat iron. No, the flat iron's met. All right. All right, so we're going to set this, just consensus, overall consensus, council members, June, just say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you for entertaining me.
Oh, you scared me earlier with that comment.
That was food. That was food earlier.
Well, I thought I had to duck or something coming. Something that was I had to look out in the audience for something. So,
all right.
Payback.
Well, all right. Next up is Ordinance 2022-4, proposed changes to the Community Commercial, CC Community Commercial District. This is up for adoption. I will introduce. Is there a second? Last chance, a second. There is no second. Ordinance 2022-4 is officially over. Moving on to Ordinance 2022-5. This is the proposed changes for the NP Neighborhood Professional District. This is for reintroduction and to schedule a public hearing. I will introduce. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Munder seconds. And to schedule a public hearing. What was my earlier one, Colleen? That was on charter amendment, correct? Okay. And we'll add the neighborhood professional to next month as well, please. What's the
So is that 6?
May? Is it the 2nd? May 2nd? Thank you very much. May 2nd, and I will. I'll get all the times for you guys. I don't think it matters the order. It will just be on May 2nd at this point. Actually, for legality purposes, let's say that first one was the charter amendment, 7:30, 7:20. Let's make this one 7:10, please, just so that people are aware of that. Can you make a note, Colleen? Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. And the charter amendment will be at 7:20. Thank you. Next up is Ordinance 2022-6. This is to adopt the tax rates for fiscal year 2022-2023. This is up for introduction as well as to schedule a public hearing. I will introduce. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Munder seconds. And we'll make this one 7 o'clock. And this is, I will also note the mayor has done a great job with keeping our tax rates the same as they have been for probably the last 18 to 20 years. And we continue to be the lowest municipality with the lowest tax rates. Thank you, Mayor.
So, is this what time, Rob?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, thank you.
Next up is Ordinance 2022-7. This is to adopt the budget for fiscal year 2022-2023. This is for introduction as well as to schedule public hearing and schedule budget workshops. I will introduce. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Munder seconds. Just keep it going, right?
Exactly.
All right, perfect.
Well, if we don't second it, we have no budget.
Well,
so.
that's
Okay.
exactly the problem.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine.
They told you, there's always the second guy. There's always the second guy. Okay, can we, let's do this one at 6:40 on May 2nd. 6:40 PM on May 2nd.
Just for clarification, does the workshop need to be before this or after this? Yeah. Okay.
My preference is to try to get the budget adopted at the May meeting.
Everyone have their calendars?
For myself, the entire week of course, we had the Planning Commission on the 25th, but the rest of that week is open for me.
Do we want to do one earlier in case we need a second one? Now, we haven't had to have a second one for a really long time.
The 21st is probably Parks and Rec, but they've been Zooming. Are they going to keep Zooming this month, do you think?
Yeah, I would assume so, yeah.
Okay,
And
so,
Chairman Regal, I think, would be okay if I missed a meeting for the budget meeting.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, my significant other is out of town and I have all 3 kids.
Jeez.
And I'm sure they would love a budget workshop meeting
Hey, bring them.
Oh, man.
from the back stands. All right, so can we don't need Tom on the 28th. So can we hit back up the 28th?
Yeah, that works.
All right, let's throw that, the one and only, does the 28th work with you all? Okay, fantastic.
You know, as an incentive, what we can say is the 29th would be the overflow date, which is a Friday. So maybe that will encourage us to get it done on the.
Well, it will, because I have to work my 3rd job on that day, so that will not be happening.
Okay.
And then,
Start at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
6 p.m. if we're confident.
I mean, earlier the better for this probably, since it's the budget and.
Do 5.
I can do 5:30.
5:30 works.
Can we do 5:30? Okay, let's do 5:30 at 5:28, please.
4:28.
4:28. What did I just say?
5:28.
Yeah, not that one.
I think that's Memorial Day, unless you want to really come in.
If I need to. All right. Okay. We are now on Ordinance 2022-8. This is a budget amendment to allow, budget amendment to allocate grant funding in the amount of $50,000 from the Maryland Department of Natural Resources. This is for introduction, so I will introduce. Is there a second?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reed seconds. And just for clarification, this is for Windy Ridge Trail design. Some of that will go for that, and then there's another line item here. Funding will be coming from a local parks and playground infrastructure grant from DNR as well. So that is amazing. The town of Mount Airy always loves its grants. I don't have any other discussion on that, but we will see that next month for a vote. All right, next up is Ordinance 2022-9. This is the issuance of citations. This is also up for introduction, and I will introduce. Is there a second on this?
Second.
All right, Councilmember Munder seconds, and we will go into further discussion next month as well. All right. Next on the list is the Charter Amendment Resolution 2022-1, modifying officers and employees authorized to issue municipal citations. This is for introduction, as well as to schedule a public hearing. I will introduce. Is there a second?
Second. I'll let Council. No, I'll.
Second.
There you go. I'll defer to Councilwoman Gillette
All
on
right.
that one.
Thank you. Councilwoman Glenny seconds. Yeah. 6:30, please. There will be no public hearings in May. I don't care if I'm supposed to schedule one. There will be none. And then we'll have to reintroduce. I'm okay with that. All right. That's just a joke, by the way. All right. Ordinance 2022-10. This is the town code correction regarding the Board of Appeal members. This is also for introduction. I will introduce. Is there a second on this?
Second.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Munder seconds. Also, council members, if you did not check out section 47-3, there is an inconsistency, and it goes against what we have in chapter 112, section 57. No, section 112-57 for the Board of Appeal members. Also, our website is also incorrect in comparison to all of those things. So if we can get our website up to date, I guess with the new information, 112, I don't see any reason why this would not pass. We also need, nope, just for introduction. Okay. All right, next up is Ordinance 2022-11. This is a budget amendment to reallocate $18,900 in the Mount Airy Police Department budget for the Lexipol Solutions software implementation. This is for introduction. Does someone else want to do something? No? I will introduce. Woohoo! Councilwoman Galetti seconds. We'll see this next month. All right. I don't even know what's coming out of my mouth right now. Resolution 2022-3. This is to allow alcohol at Ava's 5K for Down syndrome on June 4th. 2022. This is from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Watkins Park. Councilwoman Reed, do you want to say anything or no? All good?
All good.
Okay, cool. If you have not attended the event, I'll say something. If you have not attended the event, Councilwoman Reed blocks off the area in which alcohol, you can't go roaming all over the park. So as soon as you're done your 5K, you go to the quote-unquote beer garden, and everyone's entitled to their free beer to have a good time and celebrate, and all the funds go for Ava's 5K Down syndrome. So come out and support.
Actually, it's for the park, Watkins Play Place. 100% of the
Okay.
proceeds go to the playground.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Should have stopped talking sooner.
Will the new section? Will the new section be open by then?
So I'll give an update during my parks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And also we have 2022-4, which is the to allow alcohol at Mount Airy Oktoberfest. If you don't approve this,
The whole community is going to be upset.
You may not be voted back in.
So just so that you know what you're voting for, this is slightly different than Ava's 5K. At Ava's 5K, we contain it. This is to allow alcohol on Main Street as well as in the beer gardens. So it's within the festival limits, obviously pending approval from the Liquor Control Board.
Yep, perfect. It does go from Prospect to Hood.
Prospect to Hood.
Proceeds, benefit?
So split 50-50 between the Mount Airy Main Street Association, Ava's T21 Foundation, which again, our half goes directly to the playground.
Fantastic.
Well, since tonight is a night for bartering, what can we?
I think think that's a local favorite. I think our heads would spin backwards.
It's a huge fundraiser. It's
Oh,
insane how much money is brought in.
So I'll tell you, the first year we had it, both organizations took away, we both went away, I believe, Dick, 5,000 each, which was kind of a wow moment. This past year, both organizations went away with just over 8,500. So we're getting better at it. More people are coming. It's becoming more popular.
More
Scott and I
more
are
spots
ready
to get alcohol
Scott and I are
too.
ready
Like,
to quit our
I
full-time
mean,
jobs and do this.
It does bring a lot of people into town too that come for this event.
absolutely.
Yeah. Just so,
I mean, they'll go to Frederick, they'll go to Thurmont for an Oktoberfest, so we might as well bring them here. And that's what I've overwhelmingly heard from people is they're right here in town.
yeah,
I'll lead the lederhosen to the council president.
yes.
No, that's a mayor thing. That's a.
Ready to do Rocky.
They are
Rocky
$30
Horror
on
one year,
Amazon.
right? So I think-
$30.
Well, no, I think the mayor wanted to do Rocky Horror Picture Show one year. I think I've heard. So I think the lederhosen will be a step up. So, and just one procedural question for the Councilwoman Reed here. I guess this year we're doing all Main Street. Last year was just.
For the last 2 years, it's been all Main
Oh, it
Street.
has? Okay.
I only gave clarification because this is Steve's first time.
Oh, okay.
Voting on one of these. It comes with a lot of risk, obviously,
Yeah.
but we do, I think, Chief Doug, you can state to this, we've done a really fantastic job over the last 4 years, containing the festival, containing the consumption. We've actually never had an issue, other than, here, that one that we don't mention. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we
And
haven't
this-
ran out of beer.
And the sunburned people that are the volunteers for it all.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and it's nice because the police department gets out on their bikes, so they're patrolling the perimeter.
Yeah, Mike's out
Anybody
there.
that doesn't know, they're out on the perimeter. Usually there's somebody, is it the Civil Air Patrol staff, town
Yeah.
staff patrolling the end? So people aren't really walking out with a beer in their hand. It's
And-
impossible to do that, so.
well,
I wouldn't say impossible.
yeah, but hopefully, if construction timing and everything works out, we'll have the brewery open
Yeah.
at
So
this one, so.
That is actually something I'll mention. I have been in contact with the owner of the brewery that's coming, and I'm hoping that at some point we can partner with them, maybe on a smaller scale this year, to get their beer out into the festival. But my goal is 1 year away to have them brew 100% of the Oktoberfest, so that way we're supporting local.
That's awesome. All right, fantastic.
If I may, I think Captain Rolfe already left, but Lee, could you communicate that date back? Lee's with the Civil Air Patrol as well.
Awesome. All right. All those in favor for the alcohol at Oktoberfest on September 24th, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, perfect.
So just so you know, I did not vote on either of those, so there's no conflict.
Okay.
All right, cool, thanks. Thank you for clarifying.
Colleen, it's just 4-0.
For both of them.
Thank you. All right, next up is the resolution 2022-5. This is the allocation of available water and sewer capacity yield. This is up for adoption. Barney, do you want to speak to this, or Tom, or?
Sure, I can start. So, under our code, every 2 years, we go through several months process by which we first determine, on recommendation from the town engineer, how much water and sewer capacity we have to allocate. And then we have various inputs from the planning commission, public hearing at the planning commission level, et cetera. They also set their priority areas. And so by this point in time, what it's time to do under the code is for the town council to essentially allocate the capacity that you have to the, I think, 7 or 8 allocation categories that are set forth in our code. Barney has made the recommendation. The Planning Commission has recommended his recommendations to you, which you have, I think are attached to the resolution. So this is a regular every 2-year process.
All right, so council members, I just went through resolution 2022-5. There is a second packet, resolution 2022-2, that's talking more specifically about the water allocation and sewer capacity yield, and then that's where you will see the parcels, the development projects, the anticipated water and sewer impact, and then as well as the category. Barney, could you just, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but could you speak to the category section of that, please?
We've been using some water in commercial and industrial more than other places. Not so much in the priority area where we've stored most of our water in previous years. So we've reallocated some of the water from the priority area this year. We're recommending to cover a couple places like the Rigler annexation. We put some residential use in there. We have a car wash that's being proposed, so we want to make sure we had enough in the revitalization area. There's a business park addition down Twin Arch Road, that business center that might come in. So we just redivided some of those allocations that we had available. So you'll see the priority area that we still have 9,400 gallons a day available for the priority area with the downtown zone. And we have, a good spread of other uses, depending on what other developments may come in.
So I noticed that on the development project, Beck property says pending. Harrison LaShare also says pending, but we haven't voted on the regular annexation. However, you did put 9,000 gallons per day on there. Could you explain the difference by why that got 9,000 instead of pending?
Yes. So Harrison LaShare is we certainly didn't set anything aside for there because there is a good amount of water that's available for that category or for that property should that come in. The Beck property, we've been told that they have their own water, so we didn't set anything aside for that as well. But regular, 9,000 gallons a day could allow up to 36 homes, single family homes. So again, it's just to move some into that category if we did move forward with that.
Okay, so I just want to clarify for the public and all the people that have spoken. This is just to set aside just in case this property does become annexed into the property and goes through the process. However, neither the town nor the council knows what's going to happen as of yet. So please do not let this think that we have already moved through this process of annexing the regular property into the town. Okay. If anyone else wants to speak.
I do. I have a question. So as part of the process, did this go through the Water and Sewer Commission? I know it went to the Planning Commission. Did it go to Water and Sewer?
I'm not sure if there was a recommendation from the Water and Sewer, but in January, if they wanted to recommend, I think they had the opportunity to recommend to the available water and sewer capacity yields then.
Under the ordinance, the Water and Sewer Commission weighs in, at least according to the language of the ordinance, at the very beginning in the recommendation to you as to what capacity we have, both on the sewer and the water. I think that occurred in January, if I'm not mistaken. So, at least as the ordinance is written, that's when the Water and Sewer Commission would weigh in.
Okay. Do we? Okay. Another question. So I know you're planning to do some sewer capacity studies and such. What's the timing of when those might get done?
So we've received a draft of it at this time, but they're still waiting on a second part to that study. And that's looking at updating the existing plant versus updating our capacity by adding a second plant in another location. That is, we should probably have it within the next 30 days, a final document on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Council President, got a couple questions here. I kind of forewarned Barney that he might be getting the quizzes tonight from me. So just to clarify, because all the letters that I've received that the Council President has, but I believe we all have received regarding the upcoming development, Greentree itself already has water allotted due to an old annexation agreement, correct? So that's why it's not in here. The water's been accounted for. It's not part of the 45,000 gallons that it's the remaining capacity, correct?
Right.
Okay. Now to go over on page 3, I guess the 13 priority areas, I just want to make sure, because since I'm the planning liaison, I want to make sure that the water is allocated or what categories it's coming out of. Category 1, it says priority areas, which normally covers the DT zone, the downtown zone and Center Street. And the brewery that's coming, I think they said approximately 1,800 gallons last time. That's going to be allocated from the priority area.
That's correct.
Okay. I just got a question on number 4, emergency claims. What is, I'm just wondering. Is it more?
Yeah, so this whole ordinance came out when the Socorros needed water. They were outside of town. Their wells were dry, and we received an order from the MDE to extend our water to outside of town limits. That would be an emergency.
Okay, so it's just more of a set aside if someone's well goes bad. Okay. All right. You indicated, I was going to say, there has been a proposal for a new car wash in town at the old Capital One building. I'm presuming that is coming out of Category 7, non-mixed use commercial new demand, or is that coming out of another category?
That would probably come out of redevelopment and revitalization.
Okay, number 10. Okay. On number 10, would there be a problem adding language to it underneath, just stating that it's outside of the priority area for number 10? Would there be a concern, anybody's on the categories, just to verify that it's primarily used for outside the priority in the downtown area?
Does it always come out of, is it always outside, or it could be both? That's why it's not clarified.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so our ordinance does not clarify it that way.
Okay.
It's my impression, however, that it is a separate category, and that in the past, at least, and probably now, that category indeed does benefit properties other than those that are in the priority area.
Okay.
That's not to say that in theory could change, and so to change that, you have to change the ordinance.
Okay, never mind. Okay, never mind. So the wording is based on ordinance language. Okay. All right. And just to clarify also for everyone that's out there, this is the last allotment of water that we have available. We have available out of whatever was granted to us in 2014, I believe, Barney, somewhere around there from MDE. And we've used some of that. So this is the remainder of that allotment, which totals approximately 45,000 gallons. So any new development, this does not impact the code, if I get it correctly, that any new large development needs to bring water to their development if it has not been allocated water, correct?
Unless the town chooses to find its own water.
That's what I mean, but basically a development coming to town would need to obtain water and provide a well to town for their water usage.
Or be put on a wait list.
Wait list, okay. All right, but at the moment, this is it for the water allotment. We have no other allotment out there without bringing a new well online somewhere.
Correct.
Okay. I think that's it. Thank you. Because Council President Poyer asked some of the questions.
I apologize.
I was going to, no problem. Thank you.
Any other council members have any questions or concerns? All right. All those in favor of the upcoming water and sewer capacity yield for the recommendations in Resolution 2022-5, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Stephen Demoter is a nay. All right. We move into unfinished business, talking about the Flatiron Building. We are waiting our drawings and designs from Design Collective, and we should be presented with those in May at the May council meeting. And then at which point Larry Valetti would also like to do a presentation as well. And so we'll have a presentation from Larry Valetti, and then we'll have our presentation from Design Collective. At which point,
I got to do it. It's valet. It's not.
Oh.
We're not related. It's valet.
my apologies. And I think I said that last time too. My apologies, Larry. I'm sorry. Thank you, Councilwoman Galletti. Gallet.
Well, it's bar tonight. Come on, Jay.
All right, I'm done. All right, moving on. We'll move into mayor and council and staff reports. Mr. Mayor, we'll begin with you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I distributed a report today to all the council members. I'll just hit the highlights on it. First of all, I'm glad Bruce is still here. I wanted to apologize that last month I thanked everybody for their participation in figuring out what to do with the impact fees, and I neglected to mention that the volunteer fire company had also participated in that, so thank you, and please pass that on to the fire company. I greatly appreciate your assistance in that endeavor. Second of all, code enforcement issues. We are now enforcing the flag, feather, banner compliance, and businesses were notified of their non-compliance back in March, and I was happy to drive down 144 today, and it looked like everybody who had banners up who shouldn't have had taken them down. So I greatly appreciate all the businesses for helping us support the code. Third off, the Historical Society's Bag and Basket Bingo will be held on June 24th, 2022, I'm sorry. And MASTS, which is a Mount Airy Senior Task Support Group, during the farmers market will be providing that shuttle service, and I think they have the first couple months already paid for, but they applied for a grant as well. And that shuttle service during the farmers market is going to run from the senior center down to the snow cone stand in the farmers market, and then back up to the senior center in a continuous loop. And we're hoping that provides the seniors or anybody, we're not going to be checking ages when you get on the bus, but it'll give an option of parking at the senior center and then getting down to the farmers market and participating in that. So we're very excited about that, and congratulations to the MAST group for getting that done. The community garden project is underway, and again, I'd like to thank the Rotary Club for their continued manpower provided during this project as well. Once again, a thanks to Ashley Collier, Council President Jason Poirier, and the Sustainability Commission, because it seems like they're always out there working on that project, so greatly appreciate it. Last note here is that unfortunately we will be losing one of our town engineers. Chaslyn Direxon is taking a new job, and her last day will be on April 15th. So please swing through Town Hall and wish her good luck in her new endeavors, and she will be greatly missed. And that's all I have. Thank you. Would you mind going and cover it since you brought it up?
I can cover it. Since I can.
I was counting on you.
I was hoping I'll do it now. Yes, I'll add it to.
Hold on, not now.
Not now, but I do have a question for the mayor on his.
You can ask a question.
Okay. Thank you. For this week. Okay, hold on. For the basket bingo, where are tickets available from?
They will be on the website, and Facebook will have a link that they'll be able to get onto and figure out.
You talk the historical
Get the
society.
tickets.
The historical
Historical
society.
Society, that's correct. The Historical Society of Mount Airy.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor, appreciate it. Next up is Recreation and Parks Board, Council Secretary Reed.
Yep, so the Rec and Parks Board met on March 17th. A great deal of the conversation at the moment is related to baseball and softball field allocations. The board has done a really good job of bringing all the youth organizations together, and they have been working together and working with the board to make sure that everybody's field allocations are met, make sure, you know, all the kids have a place to practice and play. They have been really, it's been a positive experience, because from what I understand, some of the organizations did not get along in the past, and that culture is changing. And I think that has a lot to do with the way the board has encouraged them to work together. So I want to thank the Recs and Park Board for bringing everyone together, collaborating to make it a smooth, you know, spring for the kids. The skate park is moving forward. The volunteer group continues to fundraise for phase 1, phase 2 of the pump track. It will be located on the north side of Watkins Play Place before the dog park, so actually right next to the playground. At the next meeting, they are expected to provide a 3D map of the actual pump track for the board to approve, and then from there they can move forward. They are running into some of the kind of same situations that I did, whereas material prices have virtually doubled. So what they originally thought they had to fundraise is now twice that amount. They are working through it, and I have no doubt that they will meet their goal, but that has been part of the delay. The multi-use trails at Windy Ridge, I actually have been talking to Kristen Ellis. I need to regroup with her tomorrow to get a true update of where they are. I know that we have the $50,000 grant on our agenda, but I think I need to sit down with the board and Kristen and set up a timetable so that they can move forward. I think they're a little anxious to start cutting the trails in and get bikes out there so we can start having some local events. I'm excited to announce that phase 2 of Watkins Play Place opened today. We had some struggles over the last couple of months, but we corrected them. There were a bunch of kids out there playing, so I'm super excited about that. Phase 3 is scheduled for spring of next year, so hopefully we are almost done. I will mention that when we first started building the playground, we noticed that there was no shade in the area, which is why we built the pavilion first. It was one of the things we originally talked about. I will go back down there and see if there's any way that we can incorporate shade, more shade in phase 2. Yeah. Oh, okay, so both of them. Yeah. So no, it was definitely something that we recognized, which is why the pavilion went in phase 1. Ava's 5K for Down syndrome is June 4th. Mount Airy Oktoberfest is September 24th. The board will meet again on April 21st, and that concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much. Next up is EDC and Planning from Councilmember Munder.
All right, I will start off with the EDC meeting. It was held March 23rd at 7 p.m. in Town Hall. I would like to express a welcome to our new member, Jeanette. She did attend, and it was a wonderful meeting. The staff gave her, our staff representative, Melissa Thorne, gave her report, which I will read over a little bit for the events coming up. Our partner agencies, MAMSA and Chamber of Commerce, gave their report. We went over our old business, which was one of them was the Welcome Home Mount Airy. I believe it was announced that some baskets of bags is still here in Town Hall to be handed out. So if you have not handed out as the council members, please do so, because we're getting ready to start phase 2. Okay. Or round 2 now. So we're just waiting on Chair Donna Marie to give us our assignments on that. The mayor went over the Mount Airy shuttle service for the upcoming farmers market. Our new member, Morgan Rock, already has his first assignment, or he volunteered for it. One of the two was to look into bringing potentially broadband to all of Mount Airy. So he's looking into that. We had a presentation by Charlotte Davis from Rural Maryland Council on funding options for broadband. So the next meeting is April 27th at 7 p.m. Some of the upcoming events for it, it was mentioned the bag and basket bingo. As we were reminded, the Mount Airy Restaurant Week is ongoing. It has just started today. It will run from April 4th through the 10th. So please look on the town's website for the locations that are participating, or I believe the participating restaurants have the poster in their doors or windows regarding what that is. So please check it out and support local restaurants. Love Your Parks Week is from April 16th to the 24th. So I believe the various events are listed on the website, so please check on that. For the upcoming MAMSA events, the Golden Egg Hunt will run from, I believe, this weekend to the 16th, 4/9 to 4/16. The Farmers Market will start back up June 1st and will run to September 28th, so it's every Wednesday from 3 to 7. We also have the returning event, Wine and Cheese on Main Street, September 18th from 6 to 8. So if you have any of these questions or want to sign up for any of these events, just go ahead and check out MAMS's website for more details. The Planning Commission meeting was held March 28th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in Town Hall. We had a lot on the agenda, so I will try and just recap. We had a pre-concept plan for the Shiny Shell Car Wash, which is a redevelopment of the old Capital One Bank building up by Walmart. We went over and approved the redevelopment of a site plan for the redevelopment of the old bank building down here for the brewery. We had 2 special exception requests to be forwarded to the Board of Appeals. One was for a home daycare, and another one was for a bed and breakfast up on 17 Paradise Avenue. We went over the 2022-5 proposed changes to the NP. We had several master plan rezoning requests for several properties in town, 806 Park Avenue, and the one for Voslo, which is pretty much all of South Main Street after it turns. But that, unfortunately, was late in the agenda, so that is still will be heard first thing on the agenda at the upcoming April meeting. Next Planning Commission meeting is April 25th at 7 p.m. And to further say, there's a Beck workshop with the council this Thursday at 7 p.m. here in Town Hall. So that concludes my report.
Awesome. I know that was a full-packed agenda, so great job.
Thank you.
Next up is Recycling and Sanitation Commission, Councilmember Demoter.
Okay, so we held our last meeting on March 16th, and the agenda for that meeting was mainly focused on planning and finalizing our series of events that we were holding during the month of April. So first up, we held our shredding and battery event this past Saturday, April 2nd from 9 to 12. Or until the truck was full. This is always a very popular event. We had great turnout. This year we did limit it to the 21771 area, and we did indeed turn a fair amount of people away. And I think this is appropriate because we want to be fair to mostly service our citizens of the town of Mount Airy. And I think that worked out well because the event went until noon or when the truck was full. We filled the truck around 11:45, so we really only turned away, I think we had about 5 or 6 cars waiting, and we had to turn them away because the truck was full. And we probably would have had to turn more people away had we not been checking, for people in the immediate area. So I think that was a good approach. We took in a total of 9,900 pounds of shredded material. That's 36 large totes that get filled up and then go up the chute into the truck, get shredded. I just want to say, I want to thank all the members of the Recycle and Sanitation Commission. They're great people. They do a great job. They make it really fun to participate in these events. Tom Neff, Peggy Fleming, Pete Bolas, Mike Dixon, Ken Humber, and Kathy Balderson. So always do a great job, and I really like working with you. Next event that's coming up is our National Drug Take Back Day. That's April 23rd from 9 to 1. We're again going to be partnering with the Mount Airy Police Department, and that's always another good and popular event. And then we have the spring bulk pickup on April 30th from 9 to 1. That's going to be in the municipal parking lot, and that will be for Mount Airy residents only. A reminder about yard waste dates. We're probably all getting out and tuning up our yard and getting things moving. So the first yard waste pickup date is this Saturday, April 9th, and then there will be one on April 23rd, and then another one on May 7th. So that gives you the next 6 to 8 weeks for when you can work in your yard and get your material out to the curb. Our next meeting will be on May 18th at 7 p.m. Very quickly, just to remind everybody, we do have a Main Street Safety Task Force. We're making good progress in standing up the task force. We had a meeting on March 1st. We've been working kind of offline through emails and one-on-one conversation to put together a purpose and objective statement. We're also following up on doing some research on some of the topics and suggestions for solution that came up at our first meeting. So we're moving ahead. We'll probably have another meeting here coming up in April or early May. And we have a good core team of 7 members, but we certainly welcome more. Again, the purpose is to focus on Main Street safety and not just traffic and pedestrian safety, but we did agree that we were going to also look at personal property safety issues as they arise, whether it be for residential or for the businesses that are downtown. One other thing I'd like to bring up, because it came up during the public comment period. So this is the Town of Mount Airy's 2020 Community Survey, okay? And this survey was conducted by the Growth and Development Task Force. And in the survey, when it went out, we said that our citizens are the most important stakeholders in shaping the future direction of the town of Mount Airy. And so I just want to encourage, whether you are a developer developing conceptual site plans, whether you're citizens that have concerns, whether you're elected officials, I just want to remind you, the purpose of this survey was to help guide the direction and the decision-making of our elected officials. So I usually look at this once a month, once every 2 months, and I ask myself, am I doing the things that the citizens have asked to be done in the town of Mount Airy? So this is a big part that guides me on the town council. It's a big part of why I ran to be a town council member. So I would encourage everybody to continue to draw on this as a resource. And those are my updates.
What else you got under that desk?
Hey, Council President, a couple questions for maybe Councilman Demoter or the mayor here regarding the bulk waste pickup. I know when it was announced about just being in the municipal lots, there was some back and forth going on, and I believe it was because they're not coming curbside this year, that there was maybe potential for some of the organizations to, you contact them and they'll come pick it up and drop it off. Is there any movement on that, or has anybody stepped up?
So my understanding is that, as of talking to some recycle folks at the shred event, that we were pursuing Boy Scout troops to help in that capacity, but for various reasons, they're not able to support us. So I don't know whether the town is setting something up where if a citizen has a bulk item and they need assistance to get it to the municipal lot, if they just call the town. I don't believe we as a commission have lined that service up, and these service organizations are not supporting the effort. So that's my understanding of the situation.
Yeah, I'll
Thank you.
comment as well. Yeah, that was my understanding as well, was that the Boy Scout troops were going to offer that service, but in talking with a scoutmaster recently at one of the biggest troops, he said that he would put people up in the municipal lot to assist with unloading, but they were no longer interested in going to residents and picking up bulk items. Having said that, I've already obligated myself to go out and pick up one resident's bulk items, and I'm happy to do that. And of course, I'm always happy to help whoever I can, whenever I can. But what I would say is, in the budget that I put together, I budgeted for returning to curbside pickup, but I do fully understand that last year there were complications with the curbside pickup in that one residential community actually created one large pile of bulk items as opposed to putting 2 items out by the curb. So we had to call the company back out the following day to go and pick up a large pile of garbage as opposed to the 2 items per curb, which I thought was unfortunate. The other thing is people were still putting out things that we could not pick up, such as mattresses and items like that. So there were complications with the curbside pickup. So I'm going to budget for it to return to the curb and encourage the commission to evaluate things after this year, doing it in the municipal parking lot, and perhaps do a, we'll blame COVID again for communication, but next year we should be able to better communicate what items are acceptable and that you can only put 2 items out, and no community should create a pile of garbage.
Will there be a list on the website indicating what is acceptable, what's not?
I believe that information is already available, but we will check. And just a final comment. So, I know that in the past we've done the bring your bulk items to the municipal lot approach. We've done the curbside pickup approach. As the mayor said, it seemed like a lot of issues that came up last year. So I think the commission just thought, well, let's go back and let's try the bring your material to the municipal lot approach. Each approach has pros and cons, and people will like certain aspects of each and not like certain aspects of each. So we'll see how it goes this year, and as the mayor said, we'll regroup and we'll decide what path to take for next year.
Can I ask you a question? So for this year, I'm just thinking of the seniors. I know they have their newsletter that they send out, and they send out emails. Is there a way to notify them that, I would imagine seniors are going to have a hard time getting a bulk item, so I'm guessing that's where the mayor's going, probably. Have they been notified that it won't be curbside for them or their family? Is probably the ones that help get bulk items out to their front yard. So I'm just thinking, how are seniors going to know? And then I know everybody here probably knows someone that has a truck. So I'm really more concerned with the seniors and how would they get their items to the lot.
Yeah, I'd be happy to relay that at the next MAST meeting. And I do have the addresses for the HOA over in Wildwood. It only takes care of that community.
Great.
But, we can get the word out to them.
Because the bulk pickup is actually April 30th. It's this month. So
is it in the municipal lot?
yes, you're gonna have to go to the municipal lot from 9 to 1 on April 30th. Yes, so that's why I say.
Unless you call me.
Unless you call the mayor. 555.
Thanks, Lynn.
So, that'd be great if you can. I was thinking the senior task force, if that's the way they could get that's just something we realize as the learning curve, having that senior task force.
Got it, Roxanne? So you can remind me? Door hangers.
Hire a couple kids and take them through with the door hangers, and then that way they have something to put on their refrigerator that reminds them. Maybe we can give out to call town hall if they need something picked up, because that was my first thought when we said, is that the municipal?
Right. Shoot, I'll walk senior housing. Give me some door hangers.
Actually,
the mayor does it too.
On the thought about the signs, so we did have a joke at the shred event when the truck got full. Commission member said we need a couple signs that says the truck is full, and put them down at the entrance. And we said, no, we'll put the truck is full, call the mayor. So, we're already thinking ahead.
301-555.
Yeah, thanks a lot there,
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman?
I'll volunteer to ride along if you need help throwing stuff in the truck or a trailer.
Okay, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Not that I want to volunteer myself for anything else, but going through church school, I'm also working my third job. I have swim team, lacrosse game. There's a swim meet in Naval Academy. But after about
Wait, are you gonna help or not?
After about 5:30, I can grab a town trailer and hit the senior community with my, we can be co-tundra.
Yeah, let me.
2 tundras.
Yeah.
We can do it.
And
2
again-
tundras and a couple trailers, and this is not for everyone.
Yeah, and Council President, let me
But,
know.
yeah, not for everyone, but we can certainly help some people out.
And as I offer to the mayor, Council President, if I can, just let me know. I'll do the ride along with you to
Awesome.
help you throw stuff in.
All right, well, see, problem solved for now. All right. Thank you, everybody, for those reports. We'll move to Streets and Roads and Beautification for Councilwoman Galletti.
So Beautification met on March 14th. An Eagle Scout presented his concept of his project on Rails to Trails. He met with staff and I think Ashley and Barney, if I'm not mistaken, on what he's going to do at Rails to Trails. Beautification is going to purchase plants for him to plant when he can start his project. And he's talking about gravel, and he's going to coordinate with staff and the town as far as if there's anything once the Rails to Trails is redone, if he needs to gravel any area as part of his project. So also too, prices were quoted for a sign at Wildwood Park, which will include the history of the park, pictures of the park, information about the age of the trees. So that's kind of cool for part of the signage that they're doing. Pruning, weeding, that's all being done for spring. If you look out, you'll see them everywhere working all the time. And they are going to start, they always have, but they're going to coordinate with Parks and Rec on the Windy Ridge Trail, especially when it comes to the trail cutting and the machete chopping to get the trail in to make sure something's not mistakenly taken down. Next meeting is April 19th at 7 o'clock. And again, you can follow them on Facebook because you'll see pictures and everything they do. Streets and Roads met March 29th. A lot of things going on. Updated traffic and speed studies as of that meeting will be up on the town website this week. We do publicize the traffic and road studies. So if anybody wants to look at the speed and traffic studies that have been done the last few years since we've been on Streets and Roads, go to the town website, click Streets and Roads, go down, and you will see the spreadsheet that has those studies. As we've said in our meetings, the actual studies are about this thick, and the chief possesses the original copies of those if you wanted to look at the details or talk about the details. Another thing we're doing for trying to get more public service information out is we're looking to put together boundary map of the town, because we have people that will constantly come ask us, why aren't we doing studies? Why aren't we doing traffic calming on roads that we don't own? We cannot do anything to roads we don't own. So we're working with staff to get a boundary map to go on the Streets and Roads page. So if you had a question as a citizen, you could look it up and go, oh, that's why they don't do that, is because we don't own that road. It's not a town road. What else? Chick-fil-A, as if we haven't heard enough about that, the light fixture on the concrete island is up. If anybody has not paid attention the last several months, there was a fixture for light, and when people were making the illegal left turn, they were crashing over it and destroyed it, so it had to be rebuilt. The power company did come out and put the light up, so the visibility at night, it's not pitch dark there anymore. So we're getting there, baby steps. We are also repeating all the speed and traffic studies in town. We have set up priorities based on a lengthy discussion at our January meeting and working with our liaison with the police department, Officer Brooks. So we've got that happening as post-COVID traffic is picking up. We want to get more accurate studies. And we are also putting together an ad with the Main Street Task Force for PSA type thing to go in the 4-county catch to kind of tell what we do, what they do. Again, another way to get information to residents since we don't have the messenger. We're hoping to get that information out there. But as always, the town website, click any commission, you can get a lot of information right there. And we did at our meeting get an update on the Mount Airy Senior Task Force initiatives. If I'm not mistaken, we were told that the shuttle bus going to the farmer's market has been funded for the entire season. So that could be an update.
Well, what I don't want to do is obligate them. The only thing I know is that the first 2 months.
Okay, so first 2 months have definitely been funded.
Yeah.
And we had different ideas. We were talking back and forth, collaborating, because if we're going to be busing the seniors in, we want to have some kind of safety thing during the farmers markets, like some kind of a sandwich board that we can put out at the crosswalks, maybe work with Civil Air Patrol to make sure those seniors can leave the farmers market and safely cross, hopefully eat downtown, go to our shops. So we're kind of tossing around those ideas and pass some of that back to the senior task force. So next meeting is April 26th at 6:30.
All right, thank you.
Would you like a mass member to show up to your meeting?
We have one in our commission.
Good. Oh, that is correct. I forgot I'm
The
married
First
to
Lady.
her.
Her name would be the First Lady of Mount Airy.
Sorry, I'm going to be home soon.
Mary Hushauer.
And the mayor is in
We talk
trouble.
every once in a while.
How do you think I was getting such good updates? That's pretty much a standing item on the agenda now because we can collaborate a lot.
And I've got two things for Councilwoman Galetti on streets and roads, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Council President. Just make sure on your boundary survey, you get Buffalo Road correct. What county owns?
Well, I can tell you, I did get, I got a further update from the Carroll County contact person, who, by the way, I do have his work cell phone number now. So if anybody wants his work cell phone number, it's in our minutes that will show up after we approve them at our next meeting, that instead of just that generic number to the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, it'll be his work cell phone number. So above Black Ankle, did I get that right? Black Ankle is Carroll County. Black Ankle down is Frederick County till you get to the ball fields, and then it's Carroll County, which is actually the town of Mount Airy patrols.
Yeah,
so it's town of Mount Airy, Carroll County. You get to the ball fields at Scotch Heather, and it becomes Frederick County until you get to Black Ankle.
Yeah.
So in your neighborhood, anybody that's complaining, if it was me, I would be complaining to both counties.
Yeah.
Because they will both respond. And even though that's not Carroll County, he will respond.
Yeah, it's convoluted is the best
It
way
is.
to say it.
But yeah, it's very clear on the map we have. You can see where it stops, and we don't own it, and we don't own it from there out.
And second question, is there a pool you're holding to see how long the light stays up at Chick-fil-A?
Well,
like whatever they called the dividers or whatever, the yellow stuff?
It's a pretty heavy-duty structure. So, and thank you for bringing that up, because one of the things I have brought up and we're looking at, it was on our agenda and I forgot to put that down, is we're putting out $75 a pop to replace the delineators. Like the first car that crashed through that took out 6 or 7. So taxpayers, we're paying for that. So we're working on civil citations and hopefully get the ability for our police force to write those, because if people don't know it, every time they get someone, and you can see it, they're tearing up the road there by the sign. We don't get any money from the tickets. That goes to the state. However, they're destroying our property, so you as taxpayers are paying for it. So we're looking at that, and I actually have to email staff, I forgot, because I want to know the cost of that light pole. So if someone does destroy it and we need to put that in our meetings the mayor and I are going to have about hopefully being able to do civil citations, I want that in there. Because I know if I hit a telephone pole, my insurance is paying 10, 15 grand for that, 40 grand, something like that for a telephone pole. So thank you for bringing that up. We are going to actually, we're trying to jump ahead of that because it's costing us money.
Thank you.
All right, Water and Sewer Commission, Mount Airy Sustainability Commission, this is myself. Our last meeting for water and sewer was relatively light. We just talked about rainfall and wastewater treatment plant, talked about future PSAs with Ashley. We did talk about banning with PFAS, as well as a letter to MDE covering water resource element. My next meeting is 4/6 this Wednesday, Water and Sewer here at Town Hall. I did not have a Sustainability Commission meeting, and that will be on 4/20 at 7 p.m. If you have not checked out the community garden on Ridge Road, please do so. It is almost to completion. It should be about another week away, a week or two away. We already have, I haven't gotten an update, but we already have 25 people that have reserved spots for their garden plots. That commission is literally kicking butt at that garden. 2 months ago, there was nothing there, and now there is something amazing that is there. And we will work on a town sign for that as well. So please contact Town Hall if you would like a garden plot. In addition, next to Barney Quinn, I have a sign there for the Mount Airy Adopt a Road program. And our first commission, the Rotary Club. So I would like to thank Dick for speaking out and saying, hey, we want a road. And they got their choice of Premium Road. I think they also chose Ridge Road as well. So they're going to be working on Ridge Road. That program will be fully implemented next month, but a couple updates. With that, it's a 2-year contract. It costs $50, and that is to just cover the use of supplies. The sign, the stake, all the advertising with that is already included, and really I'll just, we'll have a gift bag to give to you. I have a brochure for all of the roads that you can adopt and help clean up our town as we go through each year. So that program will fully be going next month, and I'll give all the details, but I just wanted to do a sneak peek. That is the first sponsor for our town road. So thank you, Rotary Club. We greatly appreciate your support. In addition to the water billing system, the town is switching over the divisions for issuing billing for water. So this one time only, you will get a white postcard as opposed to the traditional blue postcards. The blue ones will pick back up the next billing cycle, but we wanted to just make you aware that you will be getting a white postcard this time around. Please don't throw it away. We will contact you if you're missing your postcard, but just know that it's going to be a white postcard this time instead of my awesome blue postcard that I had up there. So just a heads up on that. Everyone got the town administrator report, Tom McCarron, town attorney report. He's been busy.
Yeah. Just very briefly, the ordinances and resolutions on the agenda. I did attend the Planning Commission meeting at the end of March, as well as a workshop, both of which touched on the NP district changes that are proposed 2022-5 that was reintroduced and up for hearing next down the line, whenever you guys set that.
Whenever.
I've lost track. And then we do, I think, have a final MOU with the for the parking lot north of 8 North Main Street. There were just a few changes. Barney looked at them. I've looked at them. They look okay. So we should be able to finalize that in days.
Okay. And I'll just say, thank you for everything that you've been doing. We know that it's been a busy month attending all the meetings and everything else. So thank you very much. We appreciate your support and effort. Everyone got the code enforcer report as well as the zoning administrator report. And this evening we will have a closed session at the conclusion of this meeting. This is a closed session meeting subject to 3-305B3 to consider the acquisition of real property for public purpose and matters directly related thereto. Bargis, we'll go with that, and Humphreys Properties, South Main Street.
Council President, sorry. You've been rambling off. I can't get anything in on you tonight. Can I make
I have
a
to go
comment?
to the bathroom, that's why.
Oh, okay. Quick thing. I would like to put a shout out to all the town staff here, both Public Works and the town staff here too. Because for you that might not be aware of it, we have one of the best town staff in town. I thought not in town.
The best one in town.
There you go. Sorry, in the county probably. I have a state. There you go. I'm not going to say the
Poirier, aye. Reed?
Aye.
Galletti? Awesome. That will conclude our meeting for tonight. Thank you.